Hello, and welcome to Final Show Films. I'm John, or Senstaku, as you might know me on Twitter, the executive producer here, and I just want to thank you for watching. It really means a lot to us that people watch, listen to, and enjoy our shows. If you want to help us keep making these shows as fun and lively as they can be, please join your fellow fans in supporting us at our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms or by subscribing to our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/finalshowfilms. It really means a lot to us that the amount of you who do support us continue to do so, especially our $25 plus tier supporters on Patreon. Antitonic, Cat Waterflame, Samantha Bates, Maureen Monty, and Gravity Alexander. Every little bit helps, so thank you to all of our patrons and subs. Check us out on Twitter at Final Show Films and on our website at www.finalshowfilms.com for updates, go-live notifications, and more. We love interacting with you, so feel free to tweet at us or email us at finalshowfilms@gmail.com. That being said, please relax and enjoy.
But he produces ice.
Yes, X-Men are oddly named.
I mean, his name is a reference to a Robert Frost poem.
Yes, the Iceman cometh.
Yeah.
That does not mean that when someone says...
You mean the famous Robert Frost poem, The Ice Guy Cometh?
The Ice Guy cometh, yes.
But to be fair, when somebody says, oh yeah, he plays the Iceman in X-Men, I will forgive you for not realizing that Iceman is his technical name.
I came upon a divergent path in a wood, and I took the one on the right. That's how it goes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, aside from Sean Ashmore.
Now I just want to, incorrectly quoted poems.
It's just, you know them. I forget.
To clarify, we are live.
That's fine, I don't care.
I know how long.
We're on a different subject now. We're on incorrectly quoted poems.
Now I'm just thinking of the verbose meme. I forget the name of the guy, but the picture of the I want to say Civil War era guy with his whole meme is that you do other memes really verbosely and overwritten.
Yeah, it's the he's doing this weird pose.
Is that great? Well,
I don't know who it is. I don't know who the guy is. But yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm just thinking of incorrectly quoted, badly incorrectly quoted poems.
I also apologize. I'm just kind of sinking into this couch and getting lower.
Quote the Raven, get me fries.
Sorry.
Get me fries.
Quoth, not quote. Thank you very much.
Quote the Raven, get me fries.
No. If you're going to use the wrong words, at least use the correct pronunciations.
Quopped the Raven, get me fries.
Perfect.
Now I'm just imagining it trying to awkwardly run around along the floor to get fries.
I'm just imagining Edrella Poe quapping around the floor trying to get fries.
Flies?
You know,
Flies?
He might.
I mean, some weird people.
Are we gonna play a game?
Yes,
No.
let's play a game.
Good morning.
Hey, Antitonic. Thanks for joining us.
Quap the Raven.
It is good morning to Antitonic.
Yes.
Yes.
How do you do that?
You're a klutz.
And with your mind.
Anyway,
I
hi.
knocked exactly 2 cards up, and then they flipped over and then fell.
Welcome to the most serious campaign ever. We didn't fix the lighting?
No. Well, that one's not on.
If you want to lower
That one's off, yeah.
lower the
Turn that
over.
one on while I do this.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Teamwork.
Hey, now I can't see a thing.
Okay. Welcome to the most professional podcast ever.
Spiked bat across the
We're
ice.
not a podcast. Welcome to the most
I mean, if we were a podcast, we wouldn't have to worry about the lighting, so...
It's true.
fair,
If we were a podcast, we'd have to worry more about our audio.
which sucks. We apologize
Which
to
is
everybody about our audio.
Continually and repeatedly.
We're not stopping. So, welcome everybody to Untethered, Call of Cthulhu, where Cthulhu has your number and you don't know how.
I mean, I do know how I gave it to him.
Cthulhu calls. It's like.
Is that all summoning Cthulhu is? It's like, I'm just gonna write down my phone number on a bunch of pieces of paper and throw them at Cthulhu and eventually he might notice one of them?
Effectively, yeah.
I feel like it's
Joseph
that
Ducrell.
90s game Dream
Also known as
Date
the
or
archaic
Dream
rap
Phone, but it's Cthulhu it's an Eldritch Horror on the other line.
Now I'm just thinking of,
Yeah.
used to call me on my, they used to, what's the Drake song? You just come in
Cell phone?
Yeah, you just come in with cell phone.
Yeah.
But instead of the ringing sound that happens, it's just it's just Cthulhu noises.
Perfect.
Or hotline bling.
Yeah, hotline bling. That was it. You used to call me on my cell phone. And that's how Drake died.
We are very serious here.
Yes. So,
Darkness call.
when last we left off, our heroes,
It's calling collect.
who are on my medium right,
Midian, right?
medium.
What's the Midian, right?
Midian.
I don't know, but lacking that, we're going to use the median.
There you go.
Yes.
Is it the
Hi.
median or the mean?
Hi.
I'm Zach. I'm playing Yitarasu, the ship's counselor.
He's not the average of the right. He's
Yeah.
the one in the middle. On my left,
That's you.
I'm John. I'm playing Galileo Alanai, the space wizard psychologist.
on my rightmost
Space wizard
left.
astrophysicist. You're the psychologist.
On my rightmost left.
Hi, I'm William, and I'm playing Goro Hozuki, security team.
On my middlemost left.
Hi, I'm Holly. I apologize that I'm shorter today.
As opposed to.
Shorter than usual, but back injuries are a thing. I am playing Sandra Rosin, and she's an arborist.
On my immediate right.
That would be me. I'm Stan, and I'm playing Duncan, the security dude.
And on the least right of my rights.
Hey, I'm Rudy. I'm playing Kyle, the author person.
Technically, be the most right of your rights.
I was about to say.
I suppose
The least right of your rights would be Stan.
it depends on the plane you're talking about.
I mean, true. From looking straight forward, you have to look the least distance right to see.
Over there.
I think this is right, isn't it? You should turn it right
Yeah.
to go down.
Also,
Yeah, is it bad that I want to stick a cat in there while you do that?
Is there a,
Only for the cat.
Lily would tolerate it.
Just cat vomit everywhere.
She does that already.
Yeah, Lily does that a lot.
That's why she has to have her very specific, very special cat food that only she
There,
has.
now you can re-angle the cameras again.
No. All right, everybody. And when last we left, our heroes were in quarantine because they returned from a planet, and they've determined that bad things may or may not happen to them in the near future, involving turning into an eldritch beast,
Except for me.
except for yourself and Yi, whose bracelet apparently happens to protect from becoming an eldritch beast.
And one other person, providing they don't mind me carving an elder sign into their spine.
And one other person, considering Yi is no longer, it hasn't been infected and can just hand the bracelet off to someone.
Yes. So,
So maximum 5 people, because I can do that twice before I go insane.
insane?
yes. So at least one person of the party. Unless you taught the elder sign to somebody.
I could teach the elder sign to somebody.
Uh,
And then we could carve it into everyone's spine.
I'm good. I don't have the stuff inside of me.
Hey, Kyle, get a knife. I'm gonna teach
Actually,
you your first spell.
he's got a great pen.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that last week.
I'm
but
going to teach you your first spell.
You know, I'm just imagining walking out of quarantine. Everybody's got these giant bloody sigils on the back of their skulls.
It's fine. It's fine.
I wonder if that
Oh, that's
just
so much
writes
better.
what
We
you
can
want,
lower
what you
spine.
want to happen, and it works
Let's-
if you use enough blood.
Let's be honest.
well,
Who-
I'm aiming to find out today.
Who's looking
Like,
at
if
your
you just
spine?
write, no one's infected
Don't
with
worry,
the
Captain.
seed.
We're all totally sane. Ignore all the
But
blood.
it's got to
It's
be
just,
like
it's just
Oh,
rapidly.
bloody
wall.
shirt.
It's got to be a mural.
It's just
Yeah, it'd be like a
rapidly
mural of blood,
devolving
just-
into doom.
Yes. This is Doom. We are going to meet some Doom.
We are rapidly devolving into Doom 2016 specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. All right. So, it was you have been in quarantine now for 24 hours.
How long were we supposed to be in it?
48.
48.
Dang it!
We just got done talking about what we're going to do. Or we were still in the middle
We're
of
talking about a
We were in
mass
the middle of
suicide if possible.
Yeah, well, because we're going to have to eventually.
Let's avoid that possibility.
It's probably the way it's gonna have to end.
Because there's about 100 people who are definitely infected.
I'll get the punch.
We need one big Kool-Aid bowl.
Someone very trusting.
Fun fact, in Jonestown it was mostly Flavor Aid. Sorry.
Mostly Flavor Aid.
that was a thing that
Yeah,
Kool-Aid
that was-
marketing team was like, hey guys, we don't want to be associated with that with Flavor Aid, and most
I,
people were like,
I don't know if that was a real thing. That's an abridged joke.
It was actually a real thing. It's also an abridged joke.
but no, the Kool-Aid marketing team went on a spree being like, we do not want people to associate Kool-Aid with suicide cults, and so
That was Flavor
Please,
Aid.
please be
Yeah.
factually accurate. It was largely Flavor Aid.
but everyone just said Kool-Aid, and they're like, hey guys,
Too late. They failed.
It was Flavor Aid.
so yes,
Do we have any Flavor Aid in
I'm sure.
Sorry,
Beat sound?
the major's voice just popped into my head as soon as that was.
I'm sure the botanist could synthesize some. But
I mean, I'm
Don't
sure
ask
we have
what it
Tang
is,
on our
just
spaceship.
drink it.
Figure out if we can cure this thing
can't.
before we go to mass
I
suicide
told you.
cults.
I told you how. I told you who could fix it.
Who
can fix
that
it?
guy?
Tarn.
Tarn.
Tarn could have fixed it if he wanted to.
probably.
He already knows it's there.
Figure out if it's another way before we,
You
all
did
that.
determine that you've got at least 3 more days, and you have a way to extend the quarantine on everybody else here.
Yep.
So that we can go look at stuff.
I pull
But,
out a
like,
shiny
we-
pen.
I have something I need to teach Kyle first, but other than that,
So I picked this up while we were on Krator. Do you think this might help?
is it?
I-
I would like to occult the
What
pen.
is? Oh, it's a
This
pen.
is more Cthulhu Mythos.
I would like to Cthulhu Mythos the pen.
Roll me some Cthulhu Mythos. It's gone up recently.
It has. It's 12 now.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna spend all your luck to get.
44.
Yeah.
It's a weird pen.
Sure is magic.
No occult roll, maybe?
And a cult roll would tell you sure is magic.
Yeah. I tried.
But only if you succeed.
I mean, you make an occult roll, and you can make an assumption that it's what you saw. It's powered by the blood of the it's. You probably power it with your own blood to use
Yeah,
it.
okay, so...
You have no idea what it does.
It's magic and it's powered by blood. That's all I can say.
I mean,
For certain.
That's not creepy.
when he used it, he stabbed himself with it and said, and wrote, and then Yylor broke free. Narrative device pen?
Give me the pen. I might as well be me, because I'm the thing. I'm going to stab myself.
Excellent.
And I'm going to write in my own blood in my journal. Rather
Okay.
because I don't think there's anything special about the other journal. It's just that it was the book.
Yeah, I'm just a book.
Sure it is.
And then the seed of Yylor vanished.
All right. So
Oh boy.
you start writing. So pricking yourself with this pen doesn't hurt at all.
Of course not.
Completely painless.
Lots of things don't hurt at all anymore.
As you start writing, you feel the sting, and you feel that as you're writing, that's when the blood is going.
Cool.
And you find it incredibly hard to write these words. By the time you have finished, and then, you have taken 1 point of damage.
Sweet.
Ooh.
I have 2 more points left.
You want someone who's more healthy to handle this?
Yylor's seed.
As you're writing the word Yylor, the first letter drains another point of
Alright,
damage.
yeah.
you're
Nope,
done.
I'm done. I'm done. So I dropped the pen.
They don't want you to write that.
So, yes, that is how this works, theoretically, but
Everybody has to write a letter.
it is extremely draining.
You
in the
notice his
process.
veins are beginning to become
Will it work if-
very blue.
Will it work if everybody writes a little bit of it?
We can try it.
Everyone stabs themselves and
Yeah,
starts writing a
everybody
little bit
starts
of it.
writing.
Maybe, I
I
don't
used to
know.
stab myself all the time for the ring. I'm fine.
I don't know.
For varying definitions of
We're-
the word fine.
We're testing at
We
the
can
moment.
check. Yeah, we can try it.
You do notice that the writing is beginning to fade away as you drop the pen.
Yeah, no, it probably has,
Figures. It has to be fast
has to
enough.
be
Okay.
one person to do it.
Okay, out of character, how much
I have
health has
14
it
hit
taken
points.
from you? Oh, okay then.
As do I.
8.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have 14 as well.
I-
The two of us are the
I'll-
most healthy for
I'll
this.
hand it back to Kyle. You want to try it?
I've got 10.
Alright. I'll
Try, and then Yylor's seed.
Make it as few words as you can manage.
Alright.
Yeah, leave out the
Just
and.
roll
Just
me a
say,
cold.
Just
then
say-
Ilor's
Cool.
seed disappeared.
Hang on, wait. 84 of my 54. So.
Cool. You know as much about this as Jon Snow does.
Yep. So that's what I'm going with.
Jon Snow knows.
I've just expired the entirety of my knowledge of Game of Thrones.
Does
You
your
know a
character
little
name Jon
more.
Snow?
I've told you things.
Yes. I know the memes.
Alright.
The memes are all you need.
Yeah.
Alright. Break myself with the pen.
Okay. The pen enters your flesh and pulls out again, surprisingly painlessly.
Griffin's trying to break down the pictures.
Yeah, it happens.
And I'll write what I'll try to write what he said,
Keep running up there tonight.
and the seed of Yylor disappeared.
Okay. So starting the sentence, you take a point of damage.
Okay.
And then how do you spell Yylor?
I know how to spell it because I've seen it written down.
I presume you ask.
Yeah,
Okay.
I will.
I will spell it.
E, you take another point of damage.
Eilor.
I, you take another point of damage. Apostrophe, you take another point of damage.
Oh, yeah, no, there's one.
L, you take another point of damage.
Alright.
You got plenty of health. You're
Oh.
good.
Going.
You take another point of damage. R, you take another point of damage.
Okay.
VA,
Nope. Stop.
N, you stop at 8?
Yeah.
You-
Wait.
Hand off the pen quickly.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It was two letters of the word vanish you got through before you felt the drain.
Alright, so VA. NISHED.
ED.
Yeah, you did. That's
Apostrophe also.
6 letters.
Yeah, ED. So you've taken 8 points of damage so far.
Alright.
You have 14 hit points.
Yeah, let's keep going.
So, well, hang on. 14
Is
minus
it
8.
per letter?
So far.
It's two letters of
We
advantage.
don't get to know, I think.
You're not
Yeah,
sure.
So what's 14 minus 8?
6.
You should have enough. If it's every letter, you should still have enough.
And then he
That
dies.
should put you exactly at 0, at which point you become painfully injured.
But then we can
Yeah,
help.
we can take care. Yeah, we can cover you.
And I'll get the blood bags.
Well, no, he's already taken 2. He's already done 2 of the letters. So it's only.
So
We should put him
he's-
at 2.
I should put him at 2, yeah.
They should put you at 2 when you finish.
I'll
Let's
get
go.
the blood bags.
Alright. In excruciating pain, I will continue.
That would be NI SA ED, and then it's 11. As you put the period on it, you take another 2 points of damage,
You're 1.
1!
He's done.
and you feel the blood flowing out of your veins. As you're watching Kyle, everybody make me a sanity roll.
Including me.
I'm not watching.
You're not
because
watching.
I'm off getting
Okay.
a blood bag.
Okay, you're going to the medical bay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Failed. Not a fumble, but a failure.
I succeed. Good.
I succeeded.
I mean, I've already accepted my madness, so. And this is my new
What
About
is your
27.
27.
Alright, so you're the only failure. You take 1 point of sanity loss as you watch the healthy-looking Kyle begin to shrivel. His flesh turns gray and his veins become prominent and blue upon his skin.
Okay, we need to help him now.
That's what the doctor's doing.
That's why I'm
You're
running.
holding the book. You feel, as you feel this blood drawing out of you, you feel a burning in your hand where you're holding the pen. And then the burning spreads through your veins. Make me a sanity roll.
I'm watching the medical readouts and seeing if anything changes.
So the medical readouts you have aren't concurrent.
They're
yeah, because you don't
have,
currently have.
He's not wearing a suit. That's right.
Made it?
16 of 57.
1657. Okay. You feel an exhilaration of power pulling through you with this burning sensation, but you stop yourself from getting consumed by it. You're at 1 life.
Yep.
You feel incredibly weak. Make me a Constitution roll.
And
I'm also.
Because you
That's
took
something
more
else.
than half of your life in damage right there.
hey, 5 of it, 80.
Alright, you feel incredibly weak, but you remain standing. You fight this with
You made
every...
an extreme success.
Yeah, you fight this with every bit of your being. And you stand strong, just not feeling very well. It begins to fade, the feeling. And as you begin to return to normal, it's replaced by a burning. A burning that the 4 of you all feel. You don't, and you don't.
Because we don't have
Because
the.
you don't have any in you.
What about individual bracelet? Does that not nullify this pain?
No, because it's going
It's
away.
still going away.
Still going away.
You feel a burning in your spine, crawling towards your head. Everybody,
I imagine for some of us it's worse than others.
it's really bad for Duncan. It's not so bad for you. I need everybody to roll me Constitution.
Do we need to?
You two don't, because you guys.
Ha! 1!
37
Awesome.
of 45.
My one chance to make a con roll.
14 of 80.
43 or 45.
Right. You are all very healthy.
You have a 45 con.
All right.
35 strength, 45 con.
I hope we didn't just, like, kill dozens of people.
I am going to look out and see what's going on with the villagers.
I'm already outside, so...
You asked me to move.
So you do
Yeah,
all
but you're not
take.
feeling the burning sensation.
You
That's
do
why I'm like,
all take 1 point of damage
I am unconscious.
Probably hear people screaming in pain.
because you were able to have it from making your Constitution checks.
So you dropped to 0.
Yep.
So
I dropped to 0 and get a major wound, and so do you.
I will do some first aid if I need to.
You do.
you collapse as well.
I will do some first aid while the doctor's running for the blood bags.
So
I can try first aid on somebody too.
Yeah,
There's-
well, you can only do it once, so if it's a failure,
Yeah, I
it's a
know,
failure.
I know.
And I've got a decent first aid skill.
Well,
I got
and
56. So
well,
I mean,
the doctor is also here too.
well,
So I'll first aid.
But he'll do medicine.
Kyle.
Or do you have?
My medicine is way, way better than my first aid.
I
Oh
made,
yeah,
I've,
and you
I've,
can medicine somebody after they've been.
I
First
made
aid.
I
Yeah,
made first aid on
that's
Kyle.
why. I'll do a
All right.
first aid.
So you go to do first aid.
There's nothing to first.
You can't do this. There's nothing you can do.
Because
There's
it's
nothing to first
magic.
aid.
There's
Yeah.
nothing to first aid.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
You figured that out real darn
I
quick.
have actual physical injuries.
Yes, he has
that can be
physical
first
injuries.
aid.
Okay, well then I will first aid him then.
Oh, hold on. I believe Duncan was first aid.
Just
Yeah,
bandage
try
where
to
I
do that.
pricked.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Missed. 73 out of 56. But,
All right.
Or-
You
That's
just
what
saw the
you
two of them collapse.
Am I back with the blood bags?
Yes.
Medicine time.
Cool. Step
We're
one.
already in the medical lab.
You are in the medical lab.
Yeah, step one. Hook up blood bags to him because he just...
Roll medicine.
Roll one.
Am I going to die?
No, you'll be fine. I still have many
Ah,
tricks to teach
Am I going to die?
I don't have enough luck to fix that either.
What'd you roll?
A 92.
That's not a botch because you have over a 50 on medicine.
Yeah.
And I don't have enough luck to fix
Cool.
that, so...
You hook him up to an IV and you set him up with blood bags and hope that works.
You want to try me now?
Let's hope I get this right. 8.
My wounds are a lot more apparent.
So you go to hook up the blood bag because you expect him to have a loss of blood from what happened, and you realize his blood isn't. He's not missing any blood. His blood is like literally burning.
It's changing.
And
Check
so
him.
you switch over to burn aid to helping with like internal burn wounds. Roll me a d3.
Does his understanding of what just happened with him help him go back to?
Yeah, that's what I said I'm doing. I'm fixing the mistake that I just made. 3
You regain 3 hit points.
Yay!
You rolled a 5.
on
Yeah,
a D3.
One, one, one,
Oh,
one,
oh,
two, two, three,
sorry.
three.
I thought I heard it
5,
was
6 is
6.
a 1.
I regained what? 3?
3.
Yay.
All
At
right,
least you're awake.
Switch back over to him with newfound knowledge
make
that this
another
was
medicine roll.
a bad idea.
I definitely prefer
he
1,
get
1,
a-
2,
what do
2,
you get, a
3, 3
bonus
to
die?
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
What do you get a bonus die?
Am I going to die?
Well, hang on,
can't
hang on.
make this
Wait,
up.
wait,
Yeah, eventually.
Austin, would he have gotten a bonus die for
Why
his
did
nose?
you
What did you roll?
Previous
Never
number?
mind. Never mind.
94?
Well, hang on. So the way the bonus die works,
Yeah, you can you roll a third one.
you roll a third one and you take whichever is better for your 10 position.
Oh, I'm rolling it with a bonus die?
If you get a bonus die. I think what do you have, because he figured it out on me. I figured he'd get a bonus die for going down.
Those
No,
two
he just got a
collapse
chance
the
to do it
damage
again.
of losing the scene. So,
Are they
Yeah,
dying?
I'll let you do that.
he's
So you take
Thank you
another
for
one.
being my rules lawyer.
You take another one, and you
She's
take
stabilized?
whichever is
Yeah.
better for your 10's position.
What about him?
we're working on him now.
This is another 9. It's a 3. It's 34.
All right. So you hook him up to a blood filtration system that's recycling his blood and getting out impurities.
Dialysis machine.
Yeah,
Basically.
essentially.
They don't have a full dialysis machine on here, but they do have a machine for recycling blood for people who are going into emergency surgery and C-sections. It does similar things.
Cool.
He's stable, but he doesn't regain any hit points.
Let's hope we don't have to do, I don't know, some kind of crazy Cthulhu parasite removal.
Am I awake? Regain hit points, or am
Uh,
I groggy?
You regained 3 hit points, so you're awake.
Yeah.
Once you hit 0, you're unconscious until either a couple hours have passed or you go above 2 hit points.
So is everyone here stable and generally alive in the moment?
I'm in a bed.
Sort of, yeah.
Yes.
Doctor,
I'm
if you
going to...
could rerun that scan real quick before you go and check on the villagers.
That's what I was about to suggest.
How long is the scan going to take?
You draw blood, and then it'll take a while for the results to come through.
Yeah, just run it, and then you
Start
can.
But that it can be running while I'm...
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take it, then go check.
Cool.
Also, I'll come with you. I have first aid.
I'll go ahead and do that. Go ahead and check on everybody, make sure everything's going orderly, make sure that you can funnel them into here. Anyone who's severely suffering from it.
Because
Okay.
if that worked, if that worked, then all we have left to do is find who the servant creator is.
And I'm going to go ahead and run the test. Or draw the blood and run the test.
Keep it while you're looking at the villagers. Keep an eye out for anyone who is not affected.
Okay. So you were running a test. Sandra, you and me, you two of you, you and Gora both ran out to check on the villagers.
Yeah, I think I will too. If there's 100 of them, take a look.
All right. The
see if there's
moment
anybody-
you run out, you find Solus rushing around, gathering all of the villagers in the dining area, and Garjin is actually looking over them and doing something. You're not sure what it is to them.
He's repackaged.
He looks to be leaning them over his arm and then pressing his fingers into the back of their spine and then pressing it through their skin into them.
Oh, he's re-injecting them.
And Solus is gathering them all and basically forming a line for them to do this.
Okay, when they get this procedure, do they stop? I mean, are they out of pain? Does it look like there's a difference, reduction in pain, or is it getting more severe, or what? What are the
The
reactions?
people currently look oddly calm.
Oh, they're still
Even the people
oddly
who
calm.
just had the stuff removed.
Even if people have just had it removed. They
So
go from...
nobody looks-
Okay,
nobody looks
Sandra's
like
gonna
they're-
run up to Solus.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
The better question is, what did you do?
Tried to help people.
Indeed.
The immediate question is, what are Guardian doing?
Yes.
I am not sure. But I will presume it is good.
Okay.
I mean, it might be, it might not be.
It might be bad.
Do you want to tell him that?
Not really.
Maybe.
Can you stop him from doing this?
No.
He got aggressive at the mention of Yylor's name before, didn't he?
Yes.
Okay. We might be able to assume that it's not, because he doesn't seem to be a fan of Ylor.
Okay.
That's true.
Or he might have gotten aggressive because we were getting on to him.
Bum, bum, bum. It's the paranoia speaking.
Da-da-dum.
I have 27 sanity. I have 26 sanity. I know what I'm talking about.
Of course
Absolutely.
you
I'm
do.
more sane than you are now. Ever so slightly.
I have 26 sanity and 54 occult. So
Alright.
I am low on sanity, but high on reasons why things might be bad.
It might have affected them a lot worse because of how much further it progressed. He might be trying to help with spinal damage.
Possibly. I'm gonna hope it's that.
We can take more tests later, and when we see it's back, we'll be
Yeah, we
like,
can run-
"Ah!"
we can run extra blood
Yes,
tests later.
Yes. Okay. I do not want to have to take down Guardian.
That would be difficult.
Yes.
So, you guys just let it happen and
I mean, we can't
Well,
stop
yeah,
it.
what's the choice?
You have guns. Yes, you can.
I don't have a gun. I've got pruning
She
shears.
has a
The
gun.
last time I fired a gun
Use the
at
pruning
either
shears
of
on the
these
fingers.
people, Solace stopped it.
Yeah.
How
And
long
that's
is it,
the lesser of the two.
But
how
Guardian
long is it
doesn't have
taking
a
for that
blade.
blood test to start?
Guardian
No, just-
has it in his
We
chest.
are not starting a fight with Guardian right
How
now.
long is it taking for the blood test?
That's a bad
probably takes
idea.
about 15 minutes to get any results.
Guardian
like,
stuck
how,
a knife
how
in
long
his chest
does
and it came out coated in it.
Yes.
how long does it take?
Shoot him in the head, not the chest.
Should have aimed for the head.
Exactly.
How long does it take before the test can start? Like, do I have to monitor the test the whole time?
No.
How
Once you
long
put
does
blood
it
in
take to
it,
draw the blood and get it into the machine?
draw the blood, not long at all. I mean, you got your blood drawn, right? You can do it in a minute.
So that takes about a minute.
Mhm.
All right. As soon as that's done, as soon as that's running in the machine, I'm going to go ahead and start heading out to see what's going on.
You see that.
I'm going to
So, I don't
I'm
know
going
how
to immediately
stop
go up to
this. Okay,
walking
should you
past
run-
all of you, walking immediately past Guardian, seeing what's going on with before and after, seeing what he's doing.
Roll me medicine.
He's doing a scan.
35 of 61.
All right. So you're seeing these people are suffering from a large amount of pain. It doesn't look like there's any damage. It looks like it's mostly just pain. You suspect that whatever it is in them that keeps them calm, whatever it is about them, is also keeping them fairly sedate. Like, you can tell there are symptoms, but they're not complaining of it. They seem to be very trusting that whatever Guardian does will help them. After it reaches in, it doesn't seem like the pain has gone away. They still seem to be in pain. A lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're moving to lay down in different areas. So you can't see with your eyes anything that's being helped.
Okay, and it's reaching into the spine.
Yep, right up at the base of the neck.
It could be helping with spinal damage because they were much further along than we were, but we'll do another blood test after we've given them some time to rest. Because it hurt a lot, and I was not that far along.
I want to. How long is it taking for Guardian to do this?
Seconds.
So by the time I get a blood test, he'd be done with all of it anyway.
Probably.
Because the married
Yeah,
as we get it.
ignore that.
Yeah.
That's somebody who ripped into themselves, not
Okay, wasn't you.
No, that wasn't me. We got used.
Got it.
I walk back to the group.
Didn't read.
If the exact wording was that then it vanished, presumably that would mean that even if Garjin is the servant of Krator and possibly trying to do something to counter what we just did, presumably he wouldn't even have access to any
To the sea.
seeds.
And also, did we not establish that Krator and Yadler do not get along?
True, but
We actually haven't established that 100% yet. That's the working assumption we're on, but we didn't actually ever confirm that.
it's also hard to know whether or not Garjin is in fact with Krator or not. We can figure this out in a minute then.
Yeah, give him some time to rest. We'll get another blood test, find out if the seeds are back in them or not. And if they're not, then we can assume he was helping with spinal damage.
Yes. Well, possibly with pain or with recovery or something else. It doesn't look like any damage is being mended, at least on a first look.
All I know is that hurt like hell.
And I suppose we'll just have to wait and see.
I'm laying in a bed staring at a readout, waiting for it to ping as having finished.
And take a little bit.
Yep. I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. Are you, so you're drawing blood, Zachary?
Or waiting to. I think was the consensus.
I mean, you can be drawing blood and people are finished right away.
I think that's probably for the best. Just get the test results as soon as possible. They're fairly sedate and chill about it, and as long as I don't think it'll do any damage,
Yeah,
then I'll
just
try to
take
do
a
that.
blood test from like right around here, so that it's near the spine.
Yeah.
Alright. So you take some blood tests. Take them all back. By the time you get them all pulled, you definitely, your results are done.
So it basically did what we expected, and what's the result on the blood that...
So on the blood of the one you've got already, which is the one you've taken, who did you take a blood sample from? Him? There's no sign of that weird chemical anymore.
And that's the only real difference?
I mean, that's the difference we were hoping for.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes, but
Pretty much
looking
what
for
we
any
got.
other differences.
No, not there.
Okay.
So that seems to have done its job. Now we test these extra samples then.
Alright, so we won't turn into monsters. That's good.
Let's find out if they will.
Here's hoping.
You get those samples all running. And it'll take a little bit. What are the rest of you guys doing?
Recovery.
I'm going to specifically be very closely monitoring Kyle. See how he's recovering, any other complications from all this.
What kind of stuff do they have in quarantine with us?
What do you mean, what kind of stuff?
Like, are there like any games or like card games?
Any
or
entertainment?
books and
Yes,
stuff?
there's your basic, you have access to most of the basic levels of entertainment.
You get the computer, you can look at YouTube.
And okay, Sandra is going to like get an assortment of like chocolate and coffee and like games and stuff.
So there's not chocolate.
Aw.
Fine, snacks.
Why is there
and
not chocolate?
Coffee.
How would we leave the
And
planet without
I
chocolate?
know.
Who
How
set
is
this
she
thing
living
up?
right now?
I don't want to
Because
complain.
this device was sent to send down people with basic goods. So you have MREs for food.
But yeah.
Okay.
How
Snacks
big
and
of how
coffee.
big of a server would it take to get a screen cap of the internet as it was at the time of this expedition leaving to put onto these ships?
I mean, you have a lot of that sort of stuff.
What do you think?
Probably. I would think.
It's probably something they would have wanted to do just to keep people safe.
It was curated, but yes.
Yeah.
snacks, coffee, cards, books, stuff like that, and she's bringing it to the two of them.
Oh.
Okay.
The two of
Those
us.
two?
Yes,
Oh,
they're
okay.
like
Because you
laying
guys are-
down.
you
Got
guys
it,
are-
got it,
you
got
guys
it,
are
got
gonna
it.
General
Stuff?
recovery package.
Yes.
Critically injured, yes.
Got it.
Yes.
She shows up with snacks
I eat
and
snacks.
coffee.
I eat snacks
I
and
have
drink coffee.
books. I have card games.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know how you are at card games. I personally am not very good at them.
I don't know how good y'all are to be at card games. Especially not this person.
Probably overthink them. Depends on the card game.
I mean, depending on the card game, you know.
What
If it's
state
magic, I'm sure he's good.
What
He's a
state
blue
is
player.
Kyle in? I'm
Is
asking.
Kyle's unconscious.
He's still not
Okay.
up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna leave the stuff at the table right next to him.
I imagine like playing like poker or any card games that are purely like based on the draw is largely a luck roll.
Poker is not entirely luck.
It's not entirely
There's a
luck.
lot of skill.
Yeah.
People would not be consistent winners of it.
The skill of poker involves bluffing and being able to being able to read averages.
Yeah, and, like,
percentages.
Basically,
It's
understand.
charm,
understanding
deception,
your
and
odds.
psychology.
Yeah.
And a
Reading
little bit of
people,
luck.
deceiving people,
I mean, there is
memorizing
luck involved,
probability
yes.
tables.
I mean, the luck is in your hand.
Yeah.
The hand you're dealt.
But it's like being able to tell being able to tell if your hand is good, if your opponent has a good or bad hand, and then what the odds are of you drawing a good hand by discarding a certain number of cards.
Yeah.
So those are sort of the three facets, depending on what kind of poker it is. Those are the three facets of where the skill lies. Because if you have a bad hand, but your opponent also has a bad hand, you can still win. But if you have a bad hand and your opponent has a good hand, how soon you can determine that they have a good hand is how soon you fold and save your and bank your money for next game.
Yeah.
Which is why playing poker with no stakes is meaningless, because
There's no expression.
the strategy to it comes from the stakes. If there's no stakes, the strategy falls apart because there's no incentive to fold, and then it becomes just luck.
So we're apparently playing poker.
Okay. All right.
Mistake, at which point it's just a luck roll.
Yeah, well, that's one of the interesting things about poker is that with the existence of stakes drastically changes the game. Like on a mechanical level, changes the game.
I prefer Pizak.
All right. So you guys are playing that. You're doing medical tests. Duncan, what are you doing?
That's a good question. Whatever it is, I just rolled a 3.
Whatever it is, do it well.
Duncan's over there. It's like he drops something and he just sort of kicks it up into his hand. Thinking it well, and nobody notices.
Just does it over and over again.
And I'm juggling in the corner. I
You
don't know.
fuddle masterfully.
Exactly.
All right. So that goes. Nighttime, you get your results back. So, roll me medicine to determine these.
Read your results. Really?
Oh no.
Really?
What'd you roll?
Did you just fail?
Why?
What'd you roll,
In
Zachary?
a working lab full of equipment.
Does he get any bonus die for what he's working with?
He is in a lab.
Because I keep reading these things, I think I've gotten pretty used to
Yeah.
determining this
Yeah.
exact substance.
You don't know what the rolls for. What'd you get?
An 88.
Okay.
It's
The
not a 90
chemical
this
you're
time.
looking for is gone.
The what?
That's all you know.
You don't see what else is there now.
Don't know. Yeah.
Oh dear.
That's what I said. You don't know what the rolls for.
No.
I didn't need to make the roll, and you just asked me to make that so that I get paranoid about this.
That's how this works. Yes.
Now you have.
That's annoying.
That's how Call of Cthulhu works. You shotgun a bunch of rolls that don't mean anything, and then don't tell them what happens when they fail. That's why whenever I run Call of Cthulhu, I ask for rolls like every 5 seconds. Because you never know which ones are important and which ones are just be fucking with you. This is also why in our Monday Call of Cthulhu game, the greatest enemy my players have encountered thus far were stairs.
Yes.
Back when I was playing D&D in the 70s, there was one guy that always, every time you had him do any kind of saving throw, he wanted to knock off, 8 or 10 different spells. So I had everybody roll 20 times, and I wrote them all down, and I just took them as they came on the page, so that nobody knew when they were actually making a saving throw.
Yeah.
Because
You can also just be like, all right, everybody, make a reflex save. Okay. I got a 12. All right, I'll let you know when it's relevant. All right, so yeah, the chemical's gone. Congratulations to Dr. Tarasu.
Cool.
At this point, it's night.
So we managed to remove.
Kyle's still unconscious.
Yes.
which is fine. I'm going unconscious in a minute too. Good night, everybody.
I am still going to write up the report.
Night, D1. I can't sleep.
I am still going to write up the very loopholey report that keeps them in quarantine for a bit, because with their level of calmness, that hasn't gone away.
Yeah.
So I still want to kind of get to the bottom of that, see what that's all about. But they're not going to turn into plant monsters, and that's reassuring.
We have now effectively eliminated an Untethered from existence. Hopefully.
At the risk of losing Kyle.
With a pen.
We wrote him out of existence.
I hope we have not lost Kyle.
Alright, so you all go to bed at some point, presumably.
Yeah.
Right now, at least.
Sandra's gonna sleep
I'm
like
going
where
to-
they are, like
In
in
the
a
middle
chair or something, just to like keep an eye on like the two of them, because I feel like
I'm going to keep monitoring him. Basically, I'm just going to, be writing the report on my laptop from the medical bay, keeping an eye on.
So who's
my
not
results.
sleeping in the med bay?
No one?
I'll sleep in the
What's
bed.
that about sleeping?
sleep
Oh,
over in the
I
med
have to sleep. I
bay.
gotta get
Yeah.
that.
What's
I mean,
sleeping, and why do I need it?
Very good, because we can close it just in case we missed something and all the natives go crazy.
Sandra
Right, yeah,
immediately
yeah,
starts
exactly.
braiding Gora's hair.
Like Gora's just sitting down, like testing the knife in her hand while Sandra's over braiding her hair. Just,
I am fiddling with my watch.
and Gora's only got like half a head of hair to braid, so
I am fiddling with my pocket watch while watching.
she's shaved on the left side.
I assume the medical bay has windows that open into the rest of the quarantine area.
No.
Or you not? No.
Medical beds not windows.
There you go. Then I am fiddling with my pocket watch and just sort of staring at the door and sort of listening until I fall asleep, just in case something weird happens.
If something weird happens, it'll happen to you.
I mean, probably. Or Kyle.
Alright. So you all get a night of rest.
Yay.
1 hit point.
Actually, and if right before falling asleep, if hopefully this whole thing is extinguished and gone and whatnot, and we don't have to worry about plant monsters growing out of our spine, I'll go ahead and take the bracelet, because hopefully you don't need it, hopefully.
Oh, I don't need it either.
And I'm going to go ahead and put it on Kyle, just in case the pen tries to possess him.
Alright.
Good idea.
I have heard far worse plans in the past.
Kyle, you get 1 hit point for a full night's rest.
Yeah, do I?
Everybody gets 1 hit point for a full night's rest, and Kyle, you wake up in the morning.
Wow.
He's alive.
Super breakfast.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Have one of those.
Congratulations, you've learned your first spell.
I don't think I'm gonna do that real well.
Yeah, you learned how to spell the Eilor.
And that.
There are more
So-
spells I can teach.
So did it work?
It worked.
Looks like
Blood
it.
tests say yes.
So we won't have to worry about people turning into plant monsters under the night.
I'm gonna go check
That's
some
not
plant
bad, yeah.
monsters out the door.
Well, we still need to find out who the servant of Krator on the ship is,
Yeah.
though. And to my mind,
Well-
all signs point to Garjin, but
We should come out of quarantine by tonight, so if it's someone that's not down here with us, we can do some investigating.
yes.
Yes. I've been busy writing up the reports.
You've already got
have I got-
murders on the ship, so
Yeah, have I gotten any updates on the murder of what's his face?
Card?
No.
Or, Thrush?
Scott Thrush.
Thresh. Yeah.
What happened
Coming
to
through
them?
to the captain?
Not this second.
They haven't discovered card yet, to our knowledge.
What was the second murder about?
Just Thrush got killed.
Okay.
Thrush was found dead. They don't know why
He
or how.
took a bag of ashes that he had burned of all the plant matter from
Yeah.
the planet with him. That bag of ashes was not found in his room.
But it's also entirely possible that Tarn killed him to get an excuse to get out of the quarantine. Because Tarn was called off to do the autopsy.
That doesn't really
I
seem
don't
to be
think-
his
yeah, I don't
style.
know.
Because Tarn could also just leave.
He could just leave.
Yeah.
There's also a very good chance that we don't have to worry about the ashes anymore, seeing as they won't be containing any
Any of the
seeds of Ylor.
But we should find who took them.
No. Well, I mean, we're not on the case at the moment, so.
Well, I'm talking
We do
about
need to
some
track them
random-
down, but there isn't world-ending urgency to it, or at least not as
Yeah,
much.
the first thing to do is try to check that room
Yeah,
where
our-
card was found and see
I'm
if we
We
gonna
have
can
some
find-
time to
I'm gonna-
rest and recuperate.
I'm gonna tug my tether and see how it feels.
Same as yesterday.
Okay.
There's one less Ethivore in a universe of thousands of them.
Yeah,
So
right.
And our tethers still aren't muddy at the moment, so.
Sandra,
Yes.
your communication device is beeping.
What is the device?
It's like a cell phone.
You're confident.
Hello?
You pull it up.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Junior Lieutenant Rosin, how are you doing? It's
Alright, who is it?
it's Jim Way.
Which one is that?
Is that W-A-Y?
He's
or
the chief of
H-E?
security.
W-E-I.
Chief of Security?
Yep.
I'm glad you have this all written
I have some of it written down.
How's it going, Sandra?
down. Still in quarantine. But what's up?
Yeah, I hate to hear about that. Look, things are a little rough right now. You know that, obviously. But I need to talk to you about something. It's unfortunate about Scott Thrush, but we really need someone to take that position. It's a very important position. Obviously, people on the ship need to eat. And I mean, you're the obvious choice.
He's trying to give you a promotion.
Didn't even think of this.
Why
Sorry,
is
out of character.
Why is the captain not the
Ow.
one trying to give you the promotion?
Why is it head of security?
Yeah, that's a good question to ask. Because I think we're all the
ask
captain.
that question out loud.
What do you say?
Just roll with it
I
for a
didn't
minute.
realize you had the authority to do that.
Oh.
Pardon?
I just wouldn't think that. I would think it would be like more the captain or someone that would have that authority.
Are you okay, Sandra? Is everything alright down in quarantine?
Yeah, why?
Are we incorrect in assuming that it would be the captain that would hand out promotions?
It's absolutely correct to be the captain. It would either be the captain or potentially Brian O'Card, depending on what the position is.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that we weren't being gaslit.
We're being gaslit right
we
now.
are.
I mean,
Hold on.
we the
Okay,
characters
okay,
are.
no, I got this. She got this. She got
Okay.
this. So, sorry, didn't get a good night's sleep. So, what do you need me to do?
I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
That's a freak.
But look, you're a junior lieutenant, but you've been a hard worker. You've done pretty good, and I think it'd only be appropriate that if you accept this position, you get moved up to lieutenant. That's a promotion ceremony. We've got an accidental death on the planet, an investigation of a death. I think the ship needs a good party. I think we need to have a ceremony for it, put a few bells and whistles on it, maybe give people something fun.
Extremely suspicious.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Okay.
Look, I've been talking with Brian, and he and I have agreed that it's tense times. There have been a lot of exciting news, but a lot of downs, and we
You would
just
have heard
want to
about
make.
this if it was that kind of a thing.
We want to help people.
Uh-huh.
When we find out about it.
So, I hate to pop it at this point, but figuring we'll probably try to have it this this Friday. It's Wednesday today.
Okay.
And I just wanted to make sure, obviously, before I go about doing this, I need to let you know because you're integrally involved.
Okay.
So, everything sound good?
Yeah.
I know, a lot of stuff's been going on lately.
Yeah.
Don't sound suspicious.
Roll me charm.
Okay. Where's mine?
To not sound incredibly suspicious.
'Cause-
To play it off like it's been a rough night, like she said.
Not bad.
what, that was 90.
Oh, I thought that was a 7 or 2.
Oh, was it
or-
7?
I thought it was a 1.
I-
But
Okay, can
Just
I
roll it
re-roll?
again.
Because I don't know what that
Roll
was.
again and memorize what you
That's
rolled
an
this time.
85. I did not make it. It's 85 of 75.
Okay.
And I just lost a die. I can't go down
The
4.
dog's got it.
No, the dog does not
I
have it.
the
lost
dog's
my
right here.
percentile.
You okay, Sandra?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine. Like I said, just not much sleep. And a lot is happening, and Thrush
It
was
probably
murdered,
It probably fell
and
underneath
We can't confirm right now that Thrush was murdered. We don't know what happened. Chief of Security is still looking into it.
Chief.
okay, that's a sentence.
Whoa!
Reality. This has been a reality warp. So just.
Wait. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm really tired. Who's chief of security?
I suppose you don't. Roll me.
Okay, I
Make
I
me
lost a die. I
some
don't know
sort of
what that was.
charisma-based check here. And
It might be in the.
Can
it might be in the couch.
borrow a percentile
Yeah.
die, please?
Yeah, it probably rolled
Sorry.
underneath the couch.
Thank you. Okay. What's just straight charisma?
Tell me a skill and tell me how you're
Here's no
using it
charisma.
to not come off as
I
completely.
mean, can I try charm again?
Sure.
Okay.
Be charming.
Just gonna play it off like there's been a lot going on. 5
Okay, yeah.
of 75. Just like, I mean, it's been a crazy
Yeah.
couple of days. There's been a lot happening.
Yeah, I suppose you don't.
And-
I suppose you don't interact with Marine so much, but Marine
Who's
is
that?
Marino card.
Merino card.
Last you the security officer remember her last as Lieutenant. Lieutenant Ocard is the second. She's in her early 40s. She's a lieutenant.
She's Card's aunt, right?
Sister.
Sister.
She's Brian Ocard's sister.
Brian-
she's
Card.
Etsua's
Yeah,
aunt.
Etsua's
Yes.
aunt. Okay, yes. Okay, yeah, okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
Not a problem. I'm sure she'll have some questions for you. Just a couple
Wayne was
things.
the chief of security.
He was.
He was.
We're all about to have
No,
a group meeting.
It's reality warp. That's all. We just got to figure it out after she
So-
tells us.
Freaking out over here.
All right. Well, look, I'll let you guys get some rest. You've obviously got the counselor in there with you if you need to talk to someone, but I can also, if you need to, just call Brian. I'm sure he'll be willing to come up and talk to you. He's got a lot going on, but he's always willing to help. You know that.
I wonder what the far-reaching
Right.
ramifications of the seed of the Ylor being very vague might have had.
All right.
Okay, talk to you later then.
Absolutely. Cat and out.
What is
Yeah.
That about-
Click.
So you gotta tell
Okay,
everybody right
group meeting, group meeting, group meeting!
We're right here.
Sandra's freaking out!
You're
This
right
is what
here.
she's doing!
We're all right here.
Okay,
Literally
yes! Okay,
5
wrong?
feet away from you.
okay.
What
I'm
happened?
sorry, I'm losing my mind. Give me a second. Okay,
Break it down.
Take us through.
okay,
though.
that was, phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Way,
Okay.
who is captain of the ship.
Sorry, what?
Yes, he is apparently captain of the ship. Head of security is, Marino Card.
Can you pull up the shit like the
Absolutely.
like the roster on the
Losing
computer?
my mind.
Absolutely.
Because I'm
Reach
already
over-
pulling it up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
grab a
yeah.
computer and pulling up the
Okay.
roster on the ship.
Because he was calling me, to give me Russia's position and talking about how there will be like a ceremony on Friday and stuff. And yeah, he's
Congratulations.
captain. Thank you. I'm really confused about life.
So yeah, pulling up the ship's roster.
Tabbing over from
You pull up the ship's roster. Sure, what position are you looking up?
Captain.
Captain
Chief of Security.
Jim Way.
Captain Jim Wood.
Captain is Captain Jim Way. Chief of Security, Commander Marino Card.
Who was the captain prior?
The captain prior was the woman whose name I can't remember.
that's
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Find out
Chinju.
I'm gonna look up her
Captain
name.
Chinju.
Yeah,
Yeah, look up the name.
No such person recorded.
Look up Brian O'Card.
Commander Brian O'Card, Chief of Civilian...
he's
Director
still-
of Civilian
He's
Personnel.
still in the same position.
He's still in the same position.
Look up
Okay.
Etsuo card. If I can.
No such person ever existed.
Look up Tarn.
Yeah.
Civilian Bloodletter, Chief of Medical.
I'm gonna call
Okay.
Tarn.
Chief medical?
He's always been Chief Medical,
Yeah.
and he's always been a civilian.
I call Tarn.
So it's doesn't exist. It's
Ah.
like Danny.
Good morning.
Oh, I never told the rest of
Hi,
them about
Tarn.
Danny.
Who's Dan?
I have a question.
I'm sure
okay.
you do.
Who's the captain of the ship right now?
Captain Way, of course.
Who was captain of the ship yesterday?
Well, before she was brutally murdered,
Brutally murdered how?
would that be telling?
Because it seems like, according to our records, she just never existed.
Of course she didn't.
Right, okay. So something happened between yesterday and today that caused several people on the ship to suddenly never have existed, and roles got changed around.
Well, of course, if the captain never existed, there needs to be a captain.
Right, okay. Cool. Was for just shooting the shit in the dark. Was the captain a plant person?
No. The only followers of Eilor were Win Reddick, and of course his father before him, and his father before him, etc., etc.
Cool. Okay. Well, just so you know, it's safe to come back to quarantine now. We got rid of the excess chemicals that were in everybody's spines.
Oh, excellent.
So you don't have to hide out away from the murderous plan monster. You might have to hide out away from other things, but we're still working on that part here.
How fascinating.
Now I'm just trying to figure out if you killed the captain or not.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean you'd say no matter what, so it doesn't really help.
I don't lie. To you, at least.
Right. Anyways, talk to you later. Click.
Do I have
So
my own psychological notes of the captain?
Yes.
Of the
Oh, the old.
Yes, you would have psychological notes.
Do I still have those for her?
You don't have them in paper, but if you go to check your records, you've got no record of her, so you can't pull them up.
So
So my notes on her have vanished as well.
talk to Tarn. He also remembers the captain. Apparently she got brutally murdered, and as a result of that, no longer ever existed. Which
Do
means
we have the computer in front of us?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we have.
Sandra's checking her family right now.
lots of,
All there.
which means
Okay.
lots
okay.
of,
Just needed to do that.
But they all look like fish people.
which means lots of, lots of things got shifted around. So congratulations, that was a legit promotion.
Awesome.
However,
I totally feel in my right mind to do this.
however,
Yes.
yeah. So the captain and Etsuo apparently just got popped out of existence.
Just like Danny. Okay, so I
We
did
didn't
tell-
have anyone beforehand to confirm his existence, though. That's the problem. We don't know if he stopped existing just last night or if he stopped existing
Who, Etsuo?
on the planet. Etsuo, yes. If he stopped existing on the planet, nobody
So-
ever talked to us about him when we got here.
I told him on the planet. When I was a kid, I had a friend.
Yeah.
Named Danny. And we were playing in, like, the restricted area that we shouldn't have been in.
Okay.
And, yeah, so basically I saw this really strange creature drag him away. And when I came back, it was like he never existed.
Can you describe the creature?
Can she?
10-year-old you talking
12.
about a 12-year-old you talking about a mysterious creature that was in the dark. Humanoid-ish. You couldn't tell very well. It was just a silhouette.
Okay.
Humanoidish.
Has anyone else encountered anything weird on any of the abandoned decks?
But you would say not human.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't human, and when I got that, the only person that remembered was Dr. Letter.
Tarn, who is
Yes.
who like us as we're awakened is impervious to the mind altering.
Everyone else just thought that he was my imaginary friend when I was a kid.
Right. Has anyone else encountered anything weird on any of the lockdown decks?
The night before we left, I believe it may have been Danny. I'm not sure. It was the silhouette of a child in some dust that got kicked up.
Alright. Anyone else?
I don't typically go to into the lockdown decks unless I need to for a job.
You mentioned you
Just the
saw
weird-
something
the
strange as
weird-
well.
Oh yeah, what was that? The finding the
You found a gun in a pillowcase.
in a pillowcase, whatever.
Okay.
And no, I'm gonna go to the computer and look up the name of the former head of security.
Jim Way,
Yeah.
the captain.
Oh, no.
Captain? No,
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 oh,
the
the
guy-
old
one that
The
died.
one that
yeah.
he killed.
The
Lou
one that I
Redding.
shot.
Uh,
Because hey, you know.
yeah, Lou Redding is in the system.
What was he?
He was chief of security.
And he died how? Or he?
It was murder during a shootout,
Right.
attempting same story you remember.
So either
Okay.
either
At least
cult,
that's the listed reason.
Either-
You know why he died.
I know. Yeah, I
Can
know.
I make it a cool roll to think of if I've read anything about any sort of monster that kills people in such a way that they are wiped from the memories of the people that should remember them.
Make me a cold roll.
84, I don't.
Yeah, you got no clue.
So I don't know what it would be, but we've got some sort of creature, potentially a creature haunting the lockdown decks, killing people and wiping them from the brains of everyone that knew them previously.
And
And
I'm gonna actually
also
real quick. I'm gonna
records.
go through the roster and find Faust.
Faust is there.
Still there? Okay.
I was about to suggest that.
our diamonds still don't work. Alright.
Hang on. I'll call Tarn back again.
He doesn't answer.
Close to that.
I was hoping maybe he was looking at the thing and seeing if he could confirm when the card vanished, but we need to get out of lockdown. We might have what we might have is two separate problems here. We might still have the servant of Krator upon in somewhere on the ship, but also something that has been eating people's essences out of the timeline.
Or we might just have the one.
Or it might be the same thing, yes. Let's assume it's two different problems.
Yeah, probably smart.
As soon as we're able to have our diamonds working again, as soon as we're able to link to our tether again, we can try to communicate and see if anything has happened to Etsuo on other worlds.
My concern is that the thing that's eating people off the timeline is another Ethibor.
And that's what that question would answer.
Well-
no, Etsuo was already dead.
Etsuo died. Etsuo killed himself.
Yeah, the
Except
thing
that-
the thing piloting Etsuo's body got eaten by an Etsuo.
Except his memory is still erased, because his records weren't there, right?
Correct.
Well, once we get out, we can go straight up to Wind's room and see. Because that would be, assuming that it doesn't necessarily need to kill the person to remove them from the records. There shouldn't be anything. If there's anything, there'll be a trail there. And if there isn't, you can go back to the deck where you misplaced your friend.
And there's a
Do we
chance.
have to?
Yes.
No, we don't. Because there's still one more lead here. If we can try to find somewhere that was important to remembering the previous to Chinju, the previous captain. If we can try to find where she may have disappeared.
The problem being,
Or
none of us
some
knew
murder
her all
different.
that well. I think I probably knew her the best out of all of us, and still not that well.
I didn't know Danny at all. But I could still talk to him. I could still see him.
Yes, but what I'm saying is
Well, you went
finding
to
her.
You went to that deck and you saw him.
Yeah, like we don't know enough about her to find what would have been important to her, and all of her records are gone.
So we don't know where she would have been when she died,
There's no way to
other than possibly on that deck.
yeah, there's no way to find
Or-
that information.
Well,
The only place we know for a fact that this thing has been is where she lost Danny.
I can investigate there.
I think at least more than one of us should, because if you go away,
Yes. More
we
than
have,
one of us,
like-
of course.
Yeah.
so
I should probably come.
I think we should all go.
Yeah,
There
we
is
might want to all
violence.
stick together. just
Because
for
if it is an Ethivore,
at least
we don't want to get caught with only two of us there.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Kyle, I have some things to teach you.
Okay.
Oh, you let him rest some? Oh, here, I brought you coffee and some food and some light reading if
This
you
isn't-
like it.
I mean, this is going to be relevant for his safety, and also he can. It doesn't. It's not that.
So is
intensive.
resting.
It's not that. It's studying a book.
I'd still
I
like
take
to
coffee.
do a little bit more
And
examination, make sure everything's where it ought to be.
Since the two of us are going to be stuck in a bed for the rest of the day, we might as well be teaching him some magic.
That doesn't exactly sound like the healthiest of hobbies.
I'm staying here with you two to keep an eye on you guys.
Right. So, over the course of the day, after tests have been running things, I'm going to try to teach Kyle the spells that I know.
All right. Kyle, roll me education.
Okay.
education.
I'm going
See
to
how well he learns.
I'm going to sort of like continuing on the general path with the conversation, but also try to, general counselor abilities, whatever. Just try to
Yeah, I could use some counseling.
generally lower the tensions here.
I could use a psychology roll for my counselor.
Sure. Roll me psychology.
Or a
to see if-
psychoanalysis, actually.
Right, yeah, roll me psychoanalysis to see if you can help some people with their sanity.
6 of 60.
6 of 60. What spell are you
Yes.
teaching him first?
First, I'm going to teach him the Elder Sign.
Cool.
Well, I rolled an 88, but this time it's a skill that's at 95, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Over the course of the afternoon, you will get everybody to recover their sanity by, it's a d6, right?
It depends on, you get to pick, basically.
I'm going to say a d6. Roll me a
It can
d6.
be a D6, I typically go with D10s, just because it's more fun to have a swingy thing. But...
Maybe big.
4.
Everybody regains 4 sanity.
Hey, I'm back to 30.
Oh, we regained sanity?
Yeah,
Yep.
the psychologist can give you back sanity by making.
Is
a
it possible to
psychological
go above your starting sanity?
No.
Borrow a
So I'm
pencil.
already
No, it is possible to go above your starting sanity. You can't go above your max, which is 99, unless you have learned Cthulhu Mythos, in which case it lowers.
I'm going to leave it at not above your power.
Okay.
If you haven't lost that much sanity, he's
Well,
not.
I've lost sanity and then got it back.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, Elder Sign first, which is 10 sanity. You pay 10 sanity, and you scribe a thing. You scribe the sign into something, and it has various effects on Eldritch horrors.
For the most part, they not only don't like it, but are incapable of interacting with it.
Yeah, and so if you put it on if you put it on the on the frame of a door, they can't go through the door. The reason I say various effects is because if you brand it on you, they can still punch you in the face. They just can't punch you where it's at. So it's less useful for protection when it's on a person, But if it's on a doorway, they can't go past it. If it's on a vehicle, they can't get in it. That kind of thing.
Yeah. All right.
It depends on what it's marked on.
But they can still even if it's on a doorway, they can still go around.
Yeah.
You know, so if there's
Just-
another
Kool-Aid
hallway, they
Just
can
just
go
or Kool-Aid Man their way through one of the walls.
Basically, the more useful
no,
you
they can't
think,
go through a wall. They have to find a separate entrance.
basically, the more clever you think you're being, the less functional it actually is.
Kind of, yeah. The effect varies. Is effectively what it does. Depending on what it
Yeah,
does.
sometimes it works very effective when you're being clever. Like, I'm going to inscribe this on the spinal column of somebody who's been infected with.
I mean, yeah. If you inscribe it on this, and basically what effect it has on Eldritch beings is largely up to the GM. The only thing for certain you can say is they can't touch it, and they can't go past it if it's on a doorway or on a vehicle. Those are the only hard and firm things it does.
And I assume we left that the hood to the Jeep on the planet because
So yeah, it's long gone.
it wasn't going to be something we could have explained.
But like, for instance, if we
Well,
if we carved it in the medical, if we carved it over the door to the medical suite, I doubt Guardian could pass it. Theoretically, theoretically, depending on what they are and how human they still are, the servant of Kratos couldn't pass it either. But that would depend on that's why Eldritch beings have cultists basically
To go where they can't.
to go where they can't, and so like cultists can pass by it just fine because their mind is messed up, but they're still functionally human. Even if they have occasionally extra bits attached to them.
That's why they don't always turn you into a fish man.
Yeah.
Innsmouth.
Sometimes they turn you into a part fish man.
I'm going to go ahead and start basically write up some simple, psychological reports that basically just kind of make sure that everyone in the group can kind of dodge a little bit of suspicion on that, like specifically for Sandra's case of, specifically mentioning the, trauma of losing one of the people who was on the planet team, her boss suddenly dying, just sort of explaining it all as it's going to result in some, jumpiness and a little bit of paranoia, but it's nothing that should be concerning, at least in the long term. And basically saying, yes, it's there, I'm handling it.
It's like, they're a little messed up, they'll be fine.
All right.
We'll schedule something out, some
They're having
psychological meetings, whatever.
Routine meetings with the psychologist.
Yeah.
Routine group therapy meetings with the psychologist.
There you go.
There.
Perfect.
So that we,
Which
They are the
voices-
away team,
voices
like
pushing.
as a group working through your trauma is a thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
bingo.
So
The fact that they
now we
may
have
just
an
happen to
excuse
double
hang
as
around
planning
together,
sessions
like-
is nuts. They will legitimately be group therapy. And they'll also be group planning sessions.
Planning is therapy.
Yes, they're planning their therapy.
Alright, here's how we're coming to terms with world-ending horrors.
Every time.
Alright, now we're done with that. Here's how we're killing world-ending horrors.
Once a week, you get to make a psychoanalysis roll and give us back some sanity if we last through the week.
Yeah.
once a week.
So, generally
Mind
just
is
have
strong.
something on the book so that they know that I'm acknowledging the problem.
Yes.
Are you still going to put in that report that says, hey, all these off-worlders need some more time to
Oh,
acclimate?
absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
I still want to keep an eye on
Let's
them.
Let's make sure we don't lock them off in any of the decks we're not using in case this thing that we are now hunting
What's after
decides that they're a tasty meal.
I'll see if I can convince them to keep them here in this quarantine bay, that moving them would just be too difficult,
I would
too many
say-
different environments to acclimate
Yeah, I would say
to.
word it as they're still acclimating to the environment they're in. Putting them into a different environment would be even
Yeah.
more traumatic.
Changing it up on them twice in a row would not be good.
Yeah.
Also, moving them, still general quarantine rules should apply.
Keep them in. Reports are filed and spells are learned.
Yes.
Fairly certain Solace will be.
Bureaucracy!
Do I get to teach? Kyle any more spells because he rolled so
Because you
well?
rolled a 5, sure.
All right.
Oh, but first of all, you learned to spell.
Learned a spell. Uh-oh.
There are downsides to this.
Of
Cthulhu
course there
Mythos
are.
goes up.
And he's only
Your Cthulhu Mythos goes up by 2.
Alright.
You have 2 points of Cthulhu Mythos.
Your sanity goes down by 2.
And your sanity max is reduced to 97.
I mean, that's still a net gain of 2.
Yeah.
And I'll also teach you.
Call it 10. Yeah, nice.
I will also teach you. Which one's more useful at the moment? We're gonna go with. Smite down thine enemy.
Yay.
That one sounds fun.
It is fun. All right, so smite down thine enemy has a variable cost of MP, so MP cost varies. The Eldest One doesn't cost any MP, which is power. It costs 1d6 sanity to use it. Each point of MP that you invest into the spell is a range of 30 feet. And once you have the range to connect, each additional point is 2d10 strength of the force of the spell.
So each point beyond the range you need.
Yeah, each point beyond the range you need. And if it's within 30 feet, Austin says you don't need that point for the 30 feet. So, it generates an opposed strength versus con test, and if successful, if successful, target knocked unconscious. Is what it says. So. In addition, you push them a number of feet. If successful or not, you still push them a number of feet. And the number of feet you push them is equal to the strength of the spell minus their size. So basically, you roll 2d10 for each point of mana invested beyond however many it takes to reach them. And the result you get from that is the strength of the spell. So that's why I'm like rolling like 10d10 and then giving a big number. Then it's an opposed roll between the spell and their constant and their con, which is that trying to get a higher level of success. So like if you roll a normal success and they fail, you win. If they roll a hard success and you only roll a normal success, they win. That kind of thing. Regardless of whether or not they win, they still get pushed back an amount of feet equal to the strength of your spell minus their size. So like if your spell has a strength of 90 and my size and it hits me with my size of 60, that means you're pushing me back 30 feet, regardless of whether or not you knock me unconscious or not.
Okay.
It can be enhanced if I use the Vorish sign, but that's something else entirely.
Cool.
Awesome.
And knocking somebody unconscious in this doesn't do any damage. It's just they're unconscious. If you have the Vorish sign, though, Austin says it'll do damage.
So being knocked unconscious makes it really easy to kill them.
Yes.
Because, put a gun to their temple and pull the trigger.
Twice.
Rule number 1, double tap. Oh, that's rule number 2. Rule number 1 is cardio.
Yeah, rule number 1 is cardio, rule number 2 is double tap.
Alright, so you've learned some magic. You've done some counseling. What's everybody else doing for the day?
I'm gonna mingle with the rest of the guys that we brought up, just to make sure that they're not changing their attitudes on things and stuff.
Not mingle with the Praetorians.
Yeah, they're just okay.
They seem pretty amiable. They seem like they're fine. You wouldn't know that last night they went through a horrible ritual that burned all their blood out and then had an alien being shove their fingers into their spinal columns.
It's just a Tuesday.
It was just Tuesday night.
It was just another
When
Tuesday
was it
night.
Tuesday?
That was just another Tuesday night. So how did they like the Gone with the Wind movie I showed them when I first got here?
They were intrigued by the technology.
Okay.
Thought it was fascinating. You gonna show them another movie?
Sure.
What movie?
Oh, we gotta do Star Wars. Episode
Which
4.
one?
Episode 4.
All right.
Does one of them ask why you're starting them on episode 4?
They won't care.
Because it's better than episode 1.
Because it's the only one that's
I mean,
worth
they don't have
watching.
anything that comes in series, so they're not. They're doing.
Yeah, they don't.
Okay,
they don't
whatever.
care. I mean, they won't.
Honestly, they probably don't read. So you probably have to read the
I have to
introduction
read
and
the
have them aloud anyway.
Yeah, I just won't read the episode 4 part. I
Just
read the
read,
rest of it.
read them. You have to read them the opening
text
crawl
scroll.
though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Just
Just ignore the number.
right.
Okay.
They wouldn't understand the Roman numeral anyway, probably. I don't know. They might have heard about it, but
Anyways, show them Star Wars.
Yes. All right, Kyle,
Yes.
He's learning magic.
you're learning magic, right? Sandra,
She's watching the two of them. Just keeping an eye on them, giving them
Does
what
she
they
learn
need.
magic incidentally?
I mean, she's more kind of taking care of the two of you guys.
are
I
you
feel like-
trying to learn magic?
No, I'm
Okay,
just
yeah.
You want to learn magic?
no. I'm just trying to make sure you guys are
actually,
okay
it'd be
and
helpful
not
if you did.
accidentally killing yourselves by learning different
I mean, I
spells.
certainly could learn magic, but I won't.
Come on.
Like, my character would
everyone-
actually be really well built for it because I have a ton of hit points and a ton of power, but no.
Everyone should learn magic.
Everyone should rot away their sanity and humanity for the sake of...
Oh, I haven't even learned the good magic. Like, this is just basic magic. I haven't learned, like, Wither. Where you grab some...
Sounds fun.
Wither is where you grab somebody's arm and it withers away.
I want to learn that. Sorry, out of game.
That's Torel.
No, that was out of game.
And
I
this
want
is
to
why
learn
we
that plus
didn't let
Taro.
Terrell jump into the pool.
I haven't found any books that'll
She
teach me that
decided
spell
not
yet,
to
so...
jump into the pool.
I only found books that had the Elder Sign and Smite Thine Enemy and the Warrior Sign. Like, I still have to find Wither the limb.
I mean, I'm sure you could look through some of Faust's stuff at some point.
Oh, I'm sure that studying this book that I've got might give me more stuff, but what's her name's journal? Yeah, you can wither people. You can open gates to various eldritch entities. You can call them to you.
Yeah, and I believe that's part of how we're in this whole situation to begin with.
Yes. The Call of Cthulhu is a spell you can cast. Is what I'm saying.
No thanks.
And if you don't want to call Cthulhu directly, you can also open a gate
Leave a voicemail?
directly to this. Well, no, you can open
Just
a
send
gate.
him a text.
You can open a gate to Ryleth. You can open a gate to Ryleth and go there. You know, the place where
Doesn't
Cthulhu
sound like a
is.
good idea.
Oh, it's just where Cthulhu is sleeping at the moment. Like, you know,
Cthulhu Fatagan.
Cthulhu talking about Ryleth. Cthulhu sleeps in Ryleth.
Yeah.
So you can go to Ryleth where Cthulhu is sleeping. And say
Plant
hi.
a nuclear device and leave.
Exactly.
Sounds like a terrible idea.
Now you just gave him a snack, but sure.
I
okay.
would just they would just wake him up temporarily.
Get a marker and draw on his face.
That's the thing. Cthulhu doesn't care about you. Like, you're just incidental.
All right. So what are you doing, Gora?
Probably also sitting in that room, mostly keeping guard.
Learn
Okay.
Spells.
Sure, if I incidentally learn a spell, why not?
Roll me education to see if you can learn.
Let's see if you learn the Elder Sign.
30 of my 77 education.
All right. So the problem is he's going really fast. So you actually had to make the same success as Kyle, the same level of success, which you did not.
It's really complicated.
Doesn't bother me none. I will stick to murdering things.
I murder things too.
Yeah, my murder doesn't cost me hit points.
My murder only costs me hit points when I'm out of mana points.
It also doesn't cost me sanity.
I mean, that's a price you have to pay.
As opposed to, however many bucks for ammo.
All right.
So what time of day are we going to be let out?
Evening.
Is there a time?
Round 8.
I'm really bad at shooting people, so. And we only have one gun.
Yeah, 2 guns.
No,
No, his gun is not charged.
Oh, well,
I mean,
I've
it's
I've
been
been
charging for
I've
the
been
past
charging.
day.
No,
I
his gun
charged
was
it.
broken.
No,
No.
it was just uncharged.
Oh,
It just ran out of
His
charge.
helmet was broken.
It's charged now.
Got it.
Yeah, our guns are charged now.
Got it.
Means I can actually take these regular notches off.
So yes, we are occupied until the evening when we're let loose, hopefully.
All right. So that evening, Brian comes up and opens up the airlock and comes in. He's still he's not suited up because your quarantine is over, and he comes on in. So, how are all my favorite away mission people doing?
Just a little bit stir crazy, but other than that, fine.
Also slightly malnourished.
Yes, actually
Does he
having to
notice?
live on those MREs.
Does he notice that we almost lost a couple of people just sitting here in quarantine? I mean,
That's why I said almost. That's why I said.
What
Yeah, I know,
happens in quarantine
he
stays
stays in quarantine
quarantine.
unless you
I mean,
happen to
until
work
now.
unless you happen to go through a D door into somebody else's room.
Alright. It's fine.
Anyway, it's fine. Yes, I'm just.
Only I can see it.
So I read your report. You don't believe it's quite ready yet for the individuals here to come aboard the
with
ship.
the rest
Maybe
of
a
these.
few more days.
Yes. Medically, they're doing fine. Psychologically, they're still a little abnormal. It's something that I think they still will take some time to get used to. I believe it would be best specifically if they remained here. We don't want them moving around too much, as I think that's part of why they're experiencing some difficulties with this.
All right. That seems fair. How's everyone holding out?
Surprisingly well, all things considered. Just a little bit rough around the edges. First mission and all. The entire ship is done.
I want to, looking at Brian while he's talking to Yi. I want to see if I can tell if something is wrong with Brian. Like if he learned that Etsuo was dead, but then had that memory wiped, and so like there's like he's sad but doesn't know why in that confusion. See if I can read that confusion in his face.
Sure. Roll me psychoanalysis.
Like Amy Pond from Doctor Who.
I was hoping for psychology.
Right.
You were hoping for psychology, but you're looking way deeper than.
I would have succeeded a psychology roll, but I failed a psychoanalysis roll. Unless I want to spend 18 of my luck to get that one.
Yeah, you're.
No. I rolled a 17.
Looks fine.
You know, I'm just trying to see if he's like anything's weird.
I mean, he looks like he's been stressed.
Yeah.
But,
Okay. I tried. That's what's important. I tried.
I was considering making a similar roll, but the chances of me picking up on something like that are slim to nil, and the chance of him reading into my leading questions is far too high. So,
Well, you've got a higher psychoanalysis roll than I do, though.
yes, but I'm literally would be trying to read Eldritch brainwashing.
Yeah.
Anyways,
But yes.
Okay.
I assume by this point we've been unhooked from our various machines. By the way.
Oh.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
we
yes.
would have done that
If it
before.
is safe to do so, then yeah.
Brian, do you need any more
Ow.
reports from me? Or?
That's bad.
I'm going to be honest, I don't know if there are enough reports you could write to make all of this make sense, but.
How'd the scooping go?
Pardon?
How'd the scooping go? They were getting fuel.
It's going well. There's a
And
lot of
filtering.
useful resources down there. We've been making sure not to get any of that weird gas.
Yes. Continue to make sure.
So. We'll make sure on that.
Also, if any of the flyers, make sure. I think I may have mentioned this in the report. Just double check. if there are any patches of the gas that aren't intertwined, make sure to avoid the green gas in particular. It has funny effects on inertia and will cause them to crash. While they're mixed together, it's less of an issue, but
Well, we'll make sure.
alright.
Alright, everybody ready to sleep in your own bed?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Finally ready to be done with this
And
little
to
bout
see
of
my-
cabin fever.
And to see my family.
Yes.
That's right, you have a family.
Yes, I have a family.
None of the rest of us do.
Well,
Oh.
no, I've got parents somewhere, but I never check in with them anymore.
I have parents and a grandfather that are all still alive.
I was born on a
Brag
different
about it.
ship.
Is your family still alive on a different ship?
Maybe. Who
Okay.
knows? It's hard to get messages back and forth.
Alright. Well, if I can do anything for the rest of you, just let me know. And we won't worry about it till tomorrow trying to get you set up in for your new position at the Arboreum.
Right. Yes, thank you.
And I know the two of you, he says, looking at Gora and Duncan, are going to be very busy helping investigate.
Yes. Can we get started on that tonight?
It's a little soon, isn't it?
Why?
Something to get our minds off of being stuck in a
yeah.
locker for a
We've been
bit.
stuck in a locker room. We've got to go. Besides, I want to walk around the ship with my gun. I don't want to leave it somewhere. Being off duty, but I don't need to tell anybody that.
Fair enough. Go report to Maureen. She'll
Okay.
get you set up with all you need to know.
So should we just go check in and let her know that we're gonna do stuff and
Yeah, I'll swing by my room first, but yeah, I'll meet you there.
pick up?
You
with
probably
all
want to
this?
swing by the security deck first. Maureen's probably going to want to get some sleep sooner
Yeah,
rather
she's
than
gonna.
later.
Yeah, she's probably gonna go
That's
check out.
Alright.
So let's just go tell her.
Yeah,
I
I'll
mean,
swing by the security deck and then.
no, we've never dealt with her before, right?
I mean, you work with her.
A little bit. Okay.
She
What position
You-
was she in prior?
she was a lieutenant commander. So she's gone from lieutenant commander to commander.
Was she still security?
She was still security,
Okay.
and she was second to Jim.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So she.
So now she's just in charge.
When we looked up the roster information on everybody, did it show date of inception for that rank?
Yes,
When did she become the security chief?
she's been security chief for like 10 years.
So since
So she
Since
thinks
Lou
she
Reddick
knows
died.
us.
No, that was 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Alright.
So she
Who
thinks
was
she knows.
and how long has the current captain been captain?
Jim was promoted to captain only a couple years ago.
Who was captain before him?
The captain before him was an elderly gentleman named Brian Jones.
And does that track with the previous the actual previous captain's?
Was Brian Jones.
Yeah.
It looks like he delayed his retirement by a few years
Okay.
to accommodate this.
So
Because-
yeah, he would have retired a few years earlier if Chinsu had actually taken over.
Yes, because he had retired about 10 years ago at the same time the previous chief, and the previous chief of security had only retired about 5 years ago. So those numbers got flip flopped.
Gotcha.
Because Jim Way is only like 33. He's not old.
All right.
Whereas Maureen is in her 40s. So
So once the security guards have left and Card has left, so we don't have a lot of time to investigate. Do you want to go ahead and check out?
What do you mean a lot of time to investigate?
Because if the servants of Krator's own the ship, now that we're out, things are probably going to start escalating.
Yes, that's why I wanted to get kind of started.
So while they're going to check in with the security chief, do we want to go check in on Wynn's Ballroom?
Yeah, that's where we're going to be going. As
Well,
soon
you
as
guys
we
are
get
going
a
to
chance.
skirt. Yeah,
This
this is
yeah, this is going to be 3 minutes after you get there. We're
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
be
yeah.
on top of you.
yeah. But
We're just doing it by
the four
book
of us
because-
now, it's like, do you want to go ahead and head up?
Sure.
the
A lot of us can head out.
I was gonna go see my family first.
Okay, go do that.
You
and then
can.
meet up with us.
Okay.
Take a cat with you.
Yes! The cat!
They're in quarantine.
Psychological quarantine for the animals is done.
Oh, well, there you go.
All the animals are taking to it surprisingly well. Actually, I believe that would be for the biologist.
Well, it's like, what are you doing? Let me go.
Poor cat
You're a
just
prop.
dragged into the game.
Deal with it.
It's like I was laying down. I was comfortable.
She's okay. She's okay with it now. Yes, I take a cat.
All right.
She takes a cat to her parents. The three of us go straight to Wynn's, and they go to the
Hopefully
skirt.
they're not allergic.
Oh,
We're gonna find out.
I mean, if you're not, the odds of them being allergic are slightly less.
I've never seen a cat.
Allergic, I said less, not non-existent.
Allergies.
No, he's a,
I'm not allergic to peanuts, but Gabriel is.
oh, really?
Yeah.
That's terrible. That's a bad allergy to have because there's so many things in life.
Oh, he
that are
apparently,
peanut-related.
apparently he's not. He doesn't have a problem with peanut oil, just with peanuts. Like,
Oh, that's better at least.
Refined
but-
peanut oil does not contain some of the same proteins that
Yeah,
regular peanuts do,
Right.
and therefore, unless you have, it's the same way where most people who can't drink milk because of lactose. There are a very small number of people who have a casein allergy who can't do any sort of milk, even lactose-free milk.
yeah.
That's
And,
it.
yeah, he can't have peanuts. But I have a nut allergy. We just don't know what nut.
I'll just start pelting you with nuts every time you come over. Let me know when you break out.
Full of
Well,
nuts.
'cause
Just start
the
eating.
only
John.
time I've ever had a reaction, and it was a very minor reaction, was when I had one of those nut clusters that are like 5 different kinds of nuts
Right,
shoved into
okay.
a single thing,
Okay.
and it caused
You don't
my
know which
throat
one.
to swell.
Who knows? It could have been a different thing entirely in the
Yeah.
nut cluster.
Yeah, but I'm pretty certain it's a nut. Just don't know which one.
Same way I'm technically allergic to some kind of cleaner because I got a slight rash on my skin when I put on a pair of 3D glasses at a theater.
Considering that Gabriel got a
Slight
peanut allergy and no one else in our
Right,
family
yeah.
has any
It
kind
was
of nut
pretty
allergy, it makes
It
more
was a
sense for it to have been one of the
significant
nuts that was in it,
rash.
but I don't eat nuts generally anyway, so it's one of those things where I would have never found out if I hadn't on one day occasionally felt like trying out a nut cluster.
All right.
But yes, Sandra's going to see her parents with a kitty.
Let's start with that then. Let's start on a good note.
and the most of us die.
Sandra's fine. Everyone else dies.
So,
Permanently.
you go home, and as you get back, yeah, you open the door, and there is a banner in the back saying "Welcome back," and there is a cake, and your mother is there, and your father is there.
And your dad says, "What is that thing? And how do you cook it?"
And your grandfather is there. And
I'm waiting for one of these people to have been dead.
I know.
I know, good missing
and your
her.
grandmother and your
And you have a twin sister.
yeah, you have a sibling.
And Etsuo Card, your cousin.
Okay, is that all that's there? Her parents and
Yeah,
her
just your
grandfather?
parents
Just
and
everybody.
Okay,
Though-
and that.
yes, the celebration. Though she was used to seeing Etsuo Card because he was studying to be a chemist, and her father is the ship's chemist. So you're not sure who his current student is if it's not Etsuo.
Okay.
Because generally speaking, you're encouraged to pick out if you're the only person on the ship who does a thing, you're encouraged to find a student to teach as soon as possible in case something happens to you.
I don't have a student.
And your twin sister is holding a bunny.
Nope, done. Jumps out the airlock.
Your father runs up and gives you a hug. Oh, welcome back.
Alright, the cat!
Smush.
And
Your dad chased the cat away.
Thank you, Lily.
The cat jumps and hides in a corner of the room.
Thank you, Lily, for demonstrating that. I found a cat. I've done lots of animals actually, but I'm keeping this one.
Oh. Your mother.
That's when they go, "What's a cat?"
And you gotta figure
That's
out.
a cat.
Your mother rushes excitedly over to it and tries to pet it, and it begins hiding from her, and then realizes the door closed behind you.
It's a little scared.
It begins behaving like Fox.
Oh no.
It's just,
Too bad.
it's just gotta warm up.
It's so fluffy, she says.
As long as it's not
It
like
is.
Storm.
There are lots of fluffy things.
Oh, we'll be
No,
so
no, no.
excited to hear about what you found, but first, I'm sure that you've been stuck eating those MREs.
Yeah.
So,
But we did have coffee.
we have strawberry chocolate cake.
Sorry. There's a feat in this book called latent sniffer.
Yes, it means you can smell violence.
You have an untapped ability to sniff violence. Not smell, sniff
All about
violence.
strawberries.
Okay.
William,
She
are
is
you a latent
Kaylee.
sniffer?
She is all about strawberries.
I don't know what that means.
You have an untapped ability to sniff violence.
Yes.
Maybe, who knows?
Welcome to the Wheel of Time rules. Anyway,
What does it mean to sniff violence? I don't
your
know.
father says, and we considered making you dinner, and then we realized we have chocolate strawberry cake.
Yay! My favorite dinner.
They begin sitting down, your parents,
Go horribly wrong.
your parents and your grandfather.
It's a
There
prereq
can't
feat
be a
for this
happy
feat.
moment.
Sniffer feat.
It is a perfectly normal evening with your parents and your grandfather.
After that, she is gonna slip out to meet the rest of them, though. Like after she sits down.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she'll
So-
spend a little bit of time, but then she'll go meet up with the rest.
While you're having a good time, the rest of you,
Okay.
let's go to the people going to security.
We're
Dora and
similarly
Duncan.
having a totally unsuspicious time.
You're having a good time.
We're
Actually,
having a
this
ball.
sounds like Faust, honestly.
The sniffer?
Yeah. Just like,
You have
there
to.
was pain here.
Well, as dictated by 3.5, you have to waste one of your feats on the latent sniffer feat before you can take the sniffer
I,
feat.
I said that I will allow you to use one of your background feats to take a latent feat.
Yeah.
Okay. I might do that then. We'll see. The yeah. Weird prereq, like take this feat in order to take another feat is a. I feel like that's a bad design choice.
I feel like it's a bad design choice when the prereq feat does literal nothing.
Yeah, like all it does is let you take a different feat.
Yeah, which is why I'm letting you do it for background. Regardless, so yes, you guys get to security.
Hello.
And
So-
as you go in, you see Maureen dressed as she usually is. She has the regular security outfit on, and she also has a bright pink necklace. It's a bunch of pink beads and a bright shiny pink skull at the tip of it.
That sounds appropriate.
She is very girly pink.
Maureen?
Ah,
So-
Gora, Duncan.
Yeah.
Ready for some fun?
Yeah, we heard about the investigation that needs to start happening.
Yep. And of course, I'm not surprised at all that you decided that, hey, I could go home, I could get some rest, I could enjoy a little bit of downtime after
So,
having
or I
all
could
these
come
things
in and go
happen.
to work.
We've had 2 days of
Yeah,
downtime, so
yeah.
what's up?
What do you expect? Well, surprisingly little. We've investigated pretty thoroughly the body, and Dr. Leiter says that there's really not much to see about it. He died. It seems to be some sort of internal organ shock. Died of fright, maybe?
Where was he found exactly?
He saw some strange.
He was found in his room. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know he went there. I assumed he slept in the
Yeah,
arboreum.
honestly, I didn't know he had a room.
He does, and it's meticulously clean. There aren't even fingerprints in it. The man wears gloves everywhere.
Of course it is. Where is his room?
It's on the second deck, room 126.
Deck 2? Okay.
And here's the override key, she said, handing you one. We've already looked in it. We didn't find anything. We didn't find this container of ash that was referenced.
Has anyone gone to sort through Win Reddig's room to get his effects either?
Yes. I went myself as soon as I heard, looked through. It was a little out of order, as though he had been rifling through stuff, probably woke up late, rummaged through his junk, went to the ship.
Sounds like him.
But
No mention of a body.
anyway, we went through his effects. I made sure that his sister had access to everything he had.
Okay. Alright. I'm going to swing by my room and put some of my stuff back, and then I'll make my way over to...
Alright, anything you can find is great, but, I got nothing to go on here.
Because Gora still has a duffel bag and a backpack with her.
Look, I got nothing to go on here. He died of something. The best thing I can figure is that high stress led to some sort of organ shock, heart attack type event.
Maybe.
It doesn't look like foul play. It's just odd.
He doesn't sound like the kind. I mean, to be fair, if something in his life went wrong, that seems like the kind of overreaction he might have. But
I'm just not sure what would cause the overreaction or why we're missing a waste disposal unit.
yes, that's a better question.
Oasis disposal.
The ashes.
For
Yeah.
the ashes.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah,
ashes.
Right, yeah.
Well, the first thing I checked was, do we have any missing waste disposal units?
Yeah,
And
that's-
we do. One was taken in, and now it's gone.
Maybe we'll find something about that around there.
That's about the only odd thing I can figure out. It was checked out by Scott Thrush, but there you go.
Alright, well,
Okay, let's,
let's get to work then.
yeah.
All right. If you don't mind, I'm checking out for the night.
Good night.
Makes sense.
See you in the morning.
See
Yep.
ya.
And she walks on by and checks out. Oh, but let's let you turn. Wait a second. I need those rail packs you got.
That's fair.
What?
Get back to the military railer.
If you're going to sleep, you get expecting bad dreams?
I need you to put them back up, Duncan. They're
Oh,
not toys. They're
shucky
tools
darns.
for an evaluation.
They are tools, and they work very well for tools.
Look, if anything in this ship needs you to use a rail pack on it, we're in a whole lot of trouble.
To be fair,
Which, to be fair, we
Yeah.
are.
we trade down the military railers for the standard railers.
Yes.
Yeah, we did standard rail. That's fine.
A railer pistol is perfectly enough to stop a human.
Yeah.
Is it enough to stop an Eldritch Horror?
It's perfectly enough to stop a human.
We're not going to ask that question out loud.
See, this is why you learn magic.
The railer would not do as much without Eldritch being as my knife will.
Yeah.
Fair.
Okay, so we put them back.
All right.
But I'm going to the range tomorrow.
I'll trade my military railer for a standard railer.
So they need to have at least a 13 wisdom.
All right. So, are you gonna meet up with the rest?
Well, first I'm going to make my way to Faust, to
Okay.
my and Faust's room.
You go drop it off.
I drop off my duffel bag and my backpack and see if there are any books of note that might be relevant.
Do you have any library skills?
I mean, I have the basic used library.
Sure. Roll that.
What is it? Library use. There you are. Everyone has a 20% chance to use a library. Get back here. No, I didn't quite. You know what? I'll use 10 points of luck.
Do it.
I have 85 luck. Now I have 75 luck.
That's a lot of luck.
I only
a lot
have
of
30
luck.
luck.
I haven't had to use luck.
Well, you've been using yours.
I have been using it a lot.
I still have 60. I haven't used anything.
I make a library use
13.
check.
Yeah.
All right. So, you check out. You're rummaging through the books. You're looking for any references, and you come across a picture with a question mark by it. It's a picture of a Modron, and it says, current manifestation will be broken, probably disliked by peers.
Ira did hate him.
And he also fought the other ones regularly whenever they came by.
Was it more than Ira that came by?
Well, supposedly, according to Solace. According to Solace, he protected them from the other Praetori.
Yeah. But it looks like it's a page out of some old reference document that was referring to a fantasy game. And it's just got this note about Garjin next to it.
And I don't know if this was a game to these people.
Probably some sort of quip.
Faust playing D&D.
It would be quite amusing if it wasn't for the fact that I am basically making a game of my past life.
I mean, last iteration of Tarasu specifically played D&D, so, you know, I believe that came up at one point.
So did Gallagher.
I mean, Akuma did not because he was a gang boss and didn't have the time.
Alright.
With that information, I will meet up. I will meet up with everybody else at Thrush's room, I guess,
Yeah.
or actually,
I need to learn Balefire.
we'll be
Hang
heading
on.
for Wind for the first one.
Go to Winston first.
When Sandra meets up with people, she will bring some extra cake.
Alright.
Yay.
And let's go to other people. That's going to be Kyle, Yi, and Galadir.
So we're heading to the hallway that Win Redding's room is in. Like we're gonna walk past it, and I just so that it doesn't look like, so that if somebody is in there, it doesn't look like we're walking right up to it, you know. Just to see, sort of casing the area and see what's going on with his room, if it's open, if somebody's in it, if it's under investigation, if it's got things locked off, because we have no idea what's going on with it right now.
It's closed right now.
It's closed right now. Does it look like it's been filled with? Does it look like the because we tampered with the lock previously? Does it look like the lock is still busted or what?
You'd have to try it.
So first, just looking around, I want to see if I'm just gonna see if there's any clear indications that something has been through here that doesn't quite add up. Because something is eating people out of the timeline, so figure this might as well be a good spot as any to start looking.
So you're gonna check the lock?
Especially because, you know, Card's
The
body was in
hallway.
that room.
The hallway
Hallway?
first, yeah.
Sure. Roll me a spot hidden. Everybody here.
Yeah, because Card's body was in that room, supposedly when it got eaten.
Yeah. 38 out of 54. Sorry, yes, 54. My spot hidden and my chemistry are the same number.
10 to 52.
9.
So you all make it pretty well. There's nothing odd in this hallway.
You said it was leaving tracks in the dust when you saw it, wherever it was.
A bit of dust got kicked up because I opened an old door and I could see his silhouette in it.
So, actually, before we try to open the door, I'm gonna call Gora.
Okay.
Yep.
Gora, did you guys learn anything about Wind Redding's room?
Yeah, apparently, because there isn't any reason to be suspicious about it, so they went through it. Apparently, it looked like he had rifled through his stuff, and probably before he left, according to our boss, and because there wasn't anything majorly suspicious about it, his sister was given access to whatever she wanted to grab out of the room.
Nothing else was found in the room?
No, because something else that might have been found doesn't exist anymore.
All right. Click. So,
It is true.
Gora says nothing else was found in the room.
There's no reason to assume it would be a murder because there's no body anymore.
Which means two things. One, there's probably nothing in the room. But two, I desperately want to get into that room. What do you two think? There's probably nothing in the room.
And if there is, well, we know that the whole Reddig thing was very much a like father, like son issue.
Potentially like sister.
Who's to know exactly if there was something suspicious if she didn't nab it?
Yeah.
But also, probably not worth going in.
Not worth it.
Unless, she isn't a cult member and left anything there.
Or, I'm also
look.
thinking that if there are any tracks left behind by whatever 8 card, then she may have already disturbed the tracks enough that we won't be able to find them. But there might be tracks in there, or something, some residue, something. No, let's make the easier play and head back to where you saw that disturbance in the dust.
Yes. Check out that general floor.
Yeah. Let's do that first. And, message the others where we're going so they can join us. Lead the way, Doctor.
I'll start.
If they're all going that way, I guess I will actually go to Thrush's room.
Okay.
Because there
See
might
if
be
they-
something relevant there.
Yeah, see, there's anything that you see that she wouldn't have seen because she got awakened. That's the other thing. It's like we might see things that other people wouldn't see because we're awakened.
Yeah.
And or because I can see ghosts.
That too.
And or because I've seen some weird shit that I haven't had a chance to talk with the DM about. So who knows?
So you're going to Scott Thrush's room?
Yep.
And we're gonna go to the locked off deck where he saw the disturbance of the dust.
Alright.
Because have there been mysterious stories about all of the various locked off decks, or only the one? Like, how many locked off decks are there
There's
similar
half,
to the
okay.
one?
So there are two. So the residential decks, there are 4 of them. The bottom 2 are in use, decks 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Decks 3 and 4 are not in use for the purposes of saving power. There are civilian decks on the opposite side of the ship. None of those decks are in use, but no one's ever even been to those decks.
Okay, so are there strange ghost stories of just, I assume, deck 3, or of both of them? Or
Don't usually specify.
okay, so it's just as likely that any weird paranormal stuff is going on both of them.
Are they preparing some of those rooms for these new passengers we have?
They are actually preparing the opposite deck end.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So they're preparing rooms.
Deck -1.
Deck number 48, which is the top deck, sort of.
We
But
died?
yes, I lead on.
Not yet.
No one yet.
Okay.
Just the cat.
All right, so
Your father
What cat? I don't remember a cat.
Your father mistook a
It
cat
disappeared.
brush for a blender, and bad things happened. Suffice to say, we learned the answer
Wait.
of will it blend.
Other way around.
No.
What's
And
with
if you
black and
mistake
white
a
and red
cat
all over?
cleaning brush for a blender, you try and put blendable food in the cat cleaning brush. Versus if you mistake the blender for the cat cleaning brush,
Why
then you
is
put the
it
cat in the blender.
Like
blending?
I said, we found out if you blend or not.
I'm combing these strawberries aggressively. Why are they not becoming a smoothie?
Anyway,
The answer is no.
Have I met up with the group yet?
yes, you're all gonna meet up at Scott Thrush's.
Okay.
Which are you meeting up with them, or are you meeting up with ghost people or Scott Thrush?
Ghost people.
Ghost people. Okay, so you all go to the ghost deck.
The ghost deck.
She brought cake for everybody.
The
Get
ghost
to the
deck.
ghost deck.
I will absolutely take some cake.
Is strawberry chocolate?
I'm
It's
extremely
really
amused
good.
that the one person with
It's
a
my
magic
favorite.
weapon is the one person who's not on the ghost deck right now.
We don't need magic weapons. We have magic.
Who's on the ghost deck right now?
Everybody
1,
but
2,
me.
3, 4.
Oh, okay.
Well, and
You're only missing security.
yeah.
Oh, you're.
Because
yeah,
I'm
you're
going to go
with-
with...
We're missing
stick-
people with
stick
guns.
Yeah.
Guns and magic knife.
Well, cake for all the people that are here.
Like just holding cake, wordlessly eating.
I mean, were you expecting him to not be a buzzkill about it?
I'm eating
I
it.
think he's just really into his work.
I'm also looking for ghosts while eating cake.
How are you feeling, Kyle?
Better, thank you.
And cake helps because it has healing properties.
Uh,
I'm a scientist. It has healing properties.
makes sense.
I'm also
Yes.
a scientist, but I don't contradict her because I'm busy looking for ghosts.
Who are you gonna call?
Elevator.
That is not as. That doesn't flow as well.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
Ghostbusters, Gala, Deer, same number of syllables.
You just gotta put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
And. Oh,
So we're
I'm looking for ghosts.
Yes. So-
looking for space ghosts.
I'm looking for space
Space
ghosts.
ghosts.
Are you,
Ghosts.
are you
I'm looking for space ghosts from one coast to the other.
are you hacking the elevator to get to the room, or are you just climbing the ladder?
I could. Would it be an electric repair to hack the elevator?
It'd be a computer's roll.
Computers roll? Anyone want to hack the elevator?
I'm fine with climbing.
I was just
There
going to
might be,
climb
yeah,
it.
there might be.
I could try if we want to.
Could anyone hack the elevator?
I could
Oh,
try.
I actually could. I do computer stuff.
I say because I know
Sorry.
climb good.
Holly forgets that she has a
It's a
character
ladder.
that can do computer stuff.
I know climb good.
It's that bad.
Technically, my character can do computer stuff. Technically,
Can she hack the computer?
Yeah, roll me a computer check.
Okay.
It's not hard.
on a technicality.
51 of 85.
Yeah. You open it up, do the thing you usually do when you want to get to this thing, and button, boing, and it takes you right up to that deck.
Okay.
It's almost like you did this for several years when you were a child.
No, I didn't.
Dust.
Who told you this lie?
And you
What
open
is
it up,
this strange deck
Yep.
I've never been to before?
and dust gets sucked out. Hey! You see a lot of things out of the corner of your eye.
You see 3 silhouettes of people.
Do I see anything?
Not at the moment.
Well,
Do I see anything?
now I'm really seeing what that prescription that Tarn gave me was doing.
What was it doing?
Making things worse.
So I thought that I was just schizophrenic. I'd see things in the corner of my vision occasionally. I think it was me seeing ghosts. I see a lot of people. No one I can
Hey.
focus on.
You have paladin abilities. You can sense undead.
I like how you go for the I see ... not dead people. Just I'm gonna go out of my way to avoid the Sixth Sense
I
quote.
see ghosts.
Also, I'm very impressed that you know that that's the quote from
Well,
that
the Sixth
movie.
Sense is old enough that Austin would have seen it.
He's never seen it.
I've never seen it.
He just recognizes it because it's that old.
Memes.
I've
Now,
seen
The Sixth
it.
Sense was originally a TV series back, what,
And I
before
knew
you
from
guys
the
were even
beginning
thought
that
of.
guy was good.
Memes. The memes exist. Anyways,
So awesome.
um,
Dead people.
So they're all just on the corner of my vision. I can't focus on anything.
What direction are they in?
You can't focus on anything right now.
Couch.
What general direction would you say
I
they're in?
don't know how to.
You want
Are they in any particular
to lift
direction?
up a little bit?
Here. Too
All over?
fast.
There you go.
They're sort of just wherever you're not looking.
I'm sorry.
No, it's cool.
Sort of.
Are you hurting?
I had to lift up because the cushion was coming off the couch, and so it just
She
it
pulled
killed
her-
my back
pulled her
a
back.
Hang
little
on.
bit.
Actually, I need to
She's
fix
on a
it.
couch because she janked the snickerdoodles out of her
Here.
back.
Sit on my seat for a second.
Okay,
So that
I
can
did something.
properly push it back.
Okay, that's a good idea. Thank you. The cushion
put
was
the
coming
cushion
out
back
of the
in.
couch, and the couch was eating me.
Okay, there you go.
I did something to my back a
We're
couple
here
days
because
ago.
a ghost was eating people.
Ow.
The couch is a ghost. This is the only logical
It's a
thing.
ghost couch. It's possessed.
All right, look
Space
that
Ghost
way.
Couch.
I mean,
Space ghost, couch to couch.
Look that way. And then in the direction that
Concentrate.
he's not looking, I'm going to charge the Vorish sign.
can you please not do anything that might kill them?
I'm just gonna hold it up, and I want to see if he notices anything weird happening.
You cannot kill what is already dead.
Roll me spot hidden.
Me?
Yes.
How do you kill that which has no life?
You were thinking the same thing.
The cleric
Oh, that's a
walks in.
72,
Watch
not a
me.
27.
It's a what?
That's a 72 and not a 27. So,
What's your spot hidden?
Not a 72.
It's not a 7.
not even a 27.
Ah.
So there's a flickering. It definitely did something, but you still can't focus on any of them.
There was something, but again, it's all just too hard to see.
I'm gonna keep it held up just because it's useful. If the thing that we're hunting can kill us out of the timeline, we probably want to keep this up.
Is that active the horror sign? Just the
It's
like ring finger?
yeah, I think ring finger. Yeah, it's just this. It's thumb on ring finger, hold down.
What exactly is the effect of that?
It's the sign of a sorcerer. It's mostly eldritch beings that are familiar with it are wary. As long as you hold it up.
It channels power.
Yeah, it doesn't actually do anything by itself. So mechanically, it enhances other spells. By itself, it's just a channeling pose.
Mhm.
But eldritch beings recognize it as the sign of a sorcerer, which means that they are more careful and more cautious.
It's the equivalent of an
Essentially-
exertion noise in martial arts.
Essentially, you're telling them, I'm here, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I am not an ordinary mortal that is easily destroyed. Basically, puts them on the defensive. It doesn't harm them inherently like the Elder Sign does.
I'm curious if
It's the back off.
Yeah,
I'm curious if this is a problem of me not being able to focus on them or them trying to avoid my sight. I want to try something for a minute.
okay.
I'm going to see if they'll start settling a little bit more just as we stay here. So I'm going to just sort of look down the hallway and basically
Help that your back. Does that still help?
sort of just sit there trying to clear my mind, like just meditating a little bit and just
No.
trying to clear my mind to not really actively be looking and just sort of try to hold there for a bit and see if
Charisma
it's,
check.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I would like to spy hidden and see if I see anything weird, like tracks in the dust. Or
Sure.
something.
What kind of roll are we talking about for that? Appear or
No, straight.
There is no charisma.
What is it? Appearance?
Power would be the thing you're
Yeah,
talking
power.
about.
Roll me
It'd be a
straight power.
check.
Roll me pow.
that's a pretty good stat for me.
Roll pow.
41 to 54.
How's your pow? It's not pow enough.
Did you fail your pow?
Did you?
90.
Of what?
of 75.
Why do you fail your? How much luck do you have left?
You get 13.
You don't have enough. You don't even have enough luck to produce it.
You need a different dice.
Yeah, you
There-
use different dice.
Those things suck.
Here, use
Odd
these.
whisperings and stuff going out of the corner of your ears that makes
Corner
it.
of your ears.
Corner of your ears.
Look, I don't do sound. Sound is not my thing. I'm a visual person.
You
Sound
see
is-
things out of the corner of your ears.
Sound is my thing.
Yes. John does sound.
I mean, even my green dice don't work. That would have missed by 1.
Use the metal dice.
I
For
do
free
not
hearing.
sound.
Yikes. They make more noise.
Yeah, that would have worked.
Like I said, use the metal dice.
Regardless. So you can't find any specific tracks because the dust around here has been kicked up
A
a
lot.
surprising
Recently.
amount recently.
No kidding.
But more than it should have.
More than it should have from us just arriving.
Yeah.
Well,
And a couple days ago.
Yeah,
It's been a few days since you were here.
I've never been here.
You know that
you
people were
heard
here
that
a
we
few
were.
days ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you know that they kicked around a little bit, but there
Okay.
shouldn't. It should have had more chance to settle since
Can I
then.
see where areas like it seems like it's more disturbed than others?
So as
And actually, while I'm doing here, while I'm looking around for that, Yi, which direction did you come from last time you were here?
I can try to retrace my steps back to the room that
Do you know which direction that room was?
Duncan found. Can I at least remember that much? Can I try to recall
idea.
where the room was?
You should
Give
have
me
had
a
a.
roll.
I mean, it would have had a door number on it.
Yeah.
24 of 65.
Apparently.
Except when
Yeah.
I can't see what's ready.
so, you go about 50 feet ahead. You take the first left. You go down to the
So
hallway.
as he starts walking, I'm going to follow, but I'm looking to see if it's been disturbed in the other direction as well.
Yes.
Okay. So
As you come up the curb.
Yeah.
Also, just to make sure that you are aware,
yeah.
you can only see. So the ship you're on, so the deck you're on is curved.
Yeah.
So you can only see about 100 feet ahead
Because of
before
the
the
curve.
deck curves up too much.
Yeah.
So these hallways are not great for visibility.
Yeah. So as we start walking, hold on. Dust has been disturbed in the other direction as well. Rather than going places we know people have been, I'd like to go places where nobody has been yet. Especially if there's signs of activity.
I did get a little bit lost trying to navigate up here the last time I
Holly, roll me
was
luck.
up here, but
Oh, okay.
Yes, but did you go
Am I trying to
That
roll
way?
under or over level?
away from the
Under.
elevator?
Under. Okay.
I don't believe so.
That was a 75 of 56, so.
Okay.
So rather than continuing on in the direction that he had gone previously, we're gonna follow the disturbance in the dust the other way
Okay.
and see if we find something.
Zachary, roll me luck.
Alright.
Be very lucky, you luckless man.
My luck is 13!
Yeah.
You roll a 2.
I rolled a 2!
You are welcome.
Okay, my dad can see the future. Like you do.
Wow.
And that's where we're going to leave it for the evening.
All right, say goodbye, everybody.
Oh, wow.
Good